cógeselo y te cojo otro. Espera. Ya voy.
Official warm-up ends in 10 minutes. Official warm-up ends in 10 minutes.
Sí, yo tengo la rodera para que te llame.
Las en 11, 9, pie palo en 7, pego.
Ahora.
Vale, a la mar, se viene el centro.
Ahora.
Ah, eso es. Se viene directo, centrado en 10, 8, pego. Pedro. Vale, Pelú, bien centrado en 11, 9. Bueno, Pelú. Vamos, Ivancho. Bien palo, 11 metros, 9, 7. Vale, Pito, en 10, pego. Buena. Vale, muy bien, centrado. En 11, 9, 7, pego. Vale, Javi, me voy viniendo, 11 metros, primer palo, en 8 y pego. Niño, 11 metros, centrado y pego. Vale, temporiza la mano. Josep, a mí. Me va viniendo por primero, en 8. Bueno. La mano directo, por centro. Que vienes en 11, 9, centrado. Vale, Pepe. En 8 y pego. Bueno, Pepe. Vale, Iván. En 8, centrado.
No me vale pegar que sea. Piensa que gol. Golpea, o vamos, sabes hacerlo, ¿eh?
Vale, Adolfo. Que vienes en 12, 10, 8, pego. Vale, muy bien, centrado. En 8, 7, pego. Llama la valla. Muy bien, Pelu, Vamos.
Estoy. Estoy corner justo yo. Estoy. ¿Por qué viene al corner? Porque va niño. Pase. Niño.
Hola. Vamos, niño, te llega balón. Temporiza, Javi, temporiza. Vale, niño. Te vienes. 11 metros, pico centro, 9, 7 y pego. Vamos, niño. Vale, Javi. 11 metros, primer palo y pego. Amar, estás en 10, 8 pego. Buenísima.
Good evening and welcome to the coverage of the IBSA Blind Football European Championships 2017 here in Berlin. This is it, the gold medal match, the final match of the tournament. It's Russia against Spain. Good evening from Berlin. My name's Alan Martin, alongside me Peter Selby and Jonathan Bell, our match day commentators. One game left, two teams, there's three of us. But let's take a look at 8 goals, which are in our goal of the tournament competition.
Have certainly done a good deal of training coming into this one. Last year they had the Four Nations Championships, which they finished second in. Right now, they're leading on day one of these European Championships. Spangman, oh, he scored a wonderful goal. Took the ball on halfway, just wriggled his way towards the right side of the area and unleashed a right-footed firecracker into the roof of Mark Alamachia's net. Celebrations absolutely fantastic with the rest of his teammates, but what a strike from the edge of the D. The Italians there couldn't stop him. Towards the Turkish stopper, up towards the other end of the field it goes. A slight hesitation from the Belgian defence, and a third goal for Turkey in the process as Hasan Satay gets two quick-fire goals for the reigning European champions, who are certainly beginning to show exactly what they are made of now. A beautiful bit of control from Hasan Satay, managed to hold off David Dortu before turning on the outside onto his right foot on the angle and slammed one in into the top right corner of Willian Sechi's net. It is Turkey 3, Belgium 0. Exquisite control, and how about that for an accurate finish?
To score more. Martin, lovely ball from the left-hand side inside his own half, picks out on the right, Alamar. He's got too many in front of him in the D. Goes past one, what a goal for Spain! The wonder kid Sergio Alamar moved the ball out of his feet, a right-footed shot from the edge of the D, nestles in the top left-hand corner. The goalkeeper never moved. It's 5 for Spain.
Wonderful bit of control from Sergio Alamar, shifting it from the left foot onto the right foot, right-hand side of the area, and Blat Basrashvili. Is on the edge of the France penalty area, trying to work a route towards the France goal. Good tackle coming in from Pedersen, who bursts now over the halfway line. The German defenders beginning to retreat. Pedersen going alone here, shot with the right foot. What a goal from Jerome Pedersen, who doubled France's lead right at the end of the first half. Germany at one end missing a penalty, and Jerome Pedersen bursts over the halfway line on the counter-attack to rub salt further into the German wounds. A wonderful goal from him on the right side of the area. A low shot past Leitch and into the net.
Position number 6, Martin Baron, now brought out by the tall Dan English down the right-hand side. Over the halfway, dribbles inside, past the broken line, edge of the D, into the back of the net. What a start for England, and what a start for Dan English. A cracking goal that started in his own half. He went over the halfway line, right-hand side, drifted into a central position, and then let fly from all of 10 metres. Goalkeeper with no chance, past his right-hand side in a blink of an eye. With his right foot, Dan English opens the scoring in style. It's England 1, France 0.
Just the start that John Pugh would have wanted from his England players. A tremendous finish.
Showing off his control down the right. Right-footed shot into the back of the net. What a goal for Spain. And their number 10 and captain, Youssef Al-Hadawi. A right-footed thunderbolt from the right-hand side of the attacking third. It's only taken just over a minute for Spain to go 1-up in this vital Group B clash here in Berlin at the IBSA Blind Football European Championships. 1-0 Spain.
Riviere now with possession on the left-hand side, just trying to turn back and face the goal edge of the attacking zone. Oh no, what a shot from distance from Gaël Riviere out of absolutely nothing. Gives France the lead after 5.5 minutes in this crucial game for the French team. A wonderful strike with the right foot. The goalkeeper for Italy did not move a muscle, coming out of absolutely nowhere. And a super goal for Gaël Riviere.
Now inside the centre circle, starts a major dribble down the left. He's beaten 2 players already, straight towards the edge of the D. Real chance here for Baron. Shoots into the back of the net and scores. Baron's equalised for France. Amazing dribble into the D from the halfway line. And this time Baron's got his shooting boots on. He grabs the back of the net. It's the equaliser at the end of the first half of the second semi-final. It's Russia 1, France 1.
Colossal goal for France, who managed to get in parity right at the end.
So there you go. That is the 8 goals. Can you vote for them? Yes, you can. It's nice and easy. Hashtag the sound of football with the number 128. Choose a number 128. Hashtag the sound of football or www.euro2017.berlin. You can go to the website. At the moment, Dan English is winning. You have until half time to affect the result of the top goal of the competition. Your best goal, Jono?
I would have to say Martin Baron, which hasn't seemed to be the most popular choice, I have to say, judging from the early standings, but it can all change, of course.
What about you, Pete?
El Hadawi for me, for the Spanish.
El Hadawi. And very cool. We're going to take a look at the highlights of both the semi-finals in just a couple of moments. So as we do that, I'll get these guys to talk you through. They commentated on virtually every minute of this tournament. This is England-Spain. Turn away now if you're English.
Yeah, cracking semi-final, full of drama. And well, England took a 2-goal advantage, and they were coasting really when they got that second goal. We said on commentary, didn't we, Jonathan, about England 2-0 up and going off into the distance. It didn't happen that way though.
It certainly didn't. Roy Turnham, though, what a tournament he had. He, of course, scored today as well in the third place playoff. Karen Seal seemed to have sealed England's spot in the final as he slotted that one into the far corner of the net. But it's the nitty-gritty stages of the second half where Spain really seemed to come on top and England began to collapse.
Yeah, Spain got a goal back, and well, it was just hanging on really for England. Here's the goal. You can see at the top of the screen that there's only 5 minutes to go. Acosta scoring from the free kick, and England, well, they just had to ride the storm for 5 minutes, and they couldn't, and in some style as well, with one of the most heartbreaking, if you're an English fan, moments that the team will probably ever suffer.
I said at the time that after the goal you're about to see now, Dan English would want the ground to swallow him up, and it was one of those things that you could only really believe if you were there to see it and witness it, because as the ball came back to him, there is no trouble at all. The goalkeeper, Dan James, is saying leave it, and Dan English just prods a right foot at it, and it diverts it away from the England shot stopper into his bottom left-hand corner. And Pete, you were actually down there at the goal line at the time, and it was just awful scenes.
Yeah, I was behind the goal and ready to run on and interview who I thought were going to be the victorious, and that was England. I was going to also one of the players, one of the outfield players, and it was just a very cruel blow, and then the game went to penalties, and Spain were more decisive from the spot than England were. There's Karen Seal missing the deciding penalty, and Spain are through to the final once again.
As for Russia, they seem to be overwhelming favourites against France, it has to be said. France managing to, I would say, scrape their way through the group stages due to the fact that Germany lost to England, but they certainly gave a good account of themselves. This is what I would say is my goal of the tournament. Going past 3 red shirts there, Martin Baron, nutmegging the last one, Ivanov, and then slotting it into the back of the net, and it made it nicely poised at the break.
Yeah, this is a French side who lost 7-0 to England and then drew 0-0 with the whipping boys of Group A, Romania. Somehow find themselves in the semi-final and were winning against a very strong Russian team who got to the final 2 years ago. The goalkeeper wants to have that one again. And then in the dying seconds, it was Russia getting the equaliser. France were on 5 team fouls for pretty much the entirety of the second half. And then from the spot kick with the shootout, it was the Russians that go through. So 2 very dramatic semi-finals, both similar outcomes as well. Late goals to make it 2-2 and then go into penalties.
Okay, very quickly, Pete, give me the strengths for Russia. Where can they win this game?
They are physically very strong. They've got a very solid back line. They don't give away many free kicks around the area. They don't give away many goals as well. The thing that we were saying at the start of the tournament was they may be lacking a bit of firepower, but they've managed to smash a few goals in recently against Georgia and then in that semi-final. But I think they're all-round physical team, and the one thing they've got is experience recently, being in the final 2 years ago.
Jono, very quickly on Spain.
Well, of course, multiple-time winners of this competition, and they have the experience not just at European level but also international level as well. Of course, they were at the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games, disappointed to not finish any higher than the 6th that they achieved, but they've looked very strong and solid in this competition. Of course, a word on both sides, they progressed from the group of death, Group B. They drew 0-0 in the group stages of this competition, and now we're about to find out who will be the decisive winner in this final.
Okay, so You can see people coming back in. Now you note that there are no mass empty seats in this stadium. It has been very, very well received. Peter Selby, we spoke to Jonathan a little bit earlier. He's gone hot-footing it back over to the commentary box. He believes Spain will win this. What about you?
I think Spain have got the X factor. They've got that special something. They've got Martin up front. They've got Alfredo Acosta, who I think is one of the players of the tournament. They've got that extra bit of spark. Now, can they break down the Russians? That is the big question. I think if Russia go into a couple of goal advantage, it'll be very hard for any team in this tournament to come back against Russia. So I'm going to go for Spain just by 1.
For the sport, if Spain were to win the European Championship and head back to Madrid on June the 7th as champions of Europe, it might just give us some bumper crowds for the World Cup next year. For now, let's go and take a look at this crowd as they come in. Pete is heading back over to the commentary box in just a couple of moments. It is indeed the very last game of the 2017 IBSA Blind Football European Championships. The teams in the tunnel, Spanish flags galore here in the stands. Can the holders of the World Cup 2018 arrive there as the champions of Europe 2017? So for the final time in this competition, we hand over at the start of a match to Jonathan Bell and Peter Selby.
Thank you very much, Alan. Good evening, everybody. Make sure you're getting comfortable and you've got your seatbelt strapped for this one as Russia take on Spain in the 2017 IBSA Blind Football European Championship Final. The officials, Francois Courquet and Atia Balint, lead out the two sets of players. Spain in their traditional red shirts, navy blue shorts and red socks, and Russia in their chain strip of white shirts, white shorts and white socks. A bumper crowd, as you would expect, in for this one. 10 days of competition, all boils down to this. These two have been with each other all the way in this competition so far, progressing from Group B, tipped to be the group of death. Turkey, the European current holders, fell out of the competition in that group stage, leaving these two to progress through the semi-finals via penalty kicks and lock horns for the second time. This time, though, it is the big one. It's the final. Both sets of players line up either side of the halfway line for the final time in this competition, and we will possibly hear the loudest contenders for Best National Anthem.
Meine Damen und Herren, ich möchte Sie bitten, sich für die Nationalhymnen von den Plätzen zu erheben. Now, National Anthem, Russia.
That is the sound of a team ready to try and get the title they lost out on 2 years ago. Trying to stop them is multiple-time European champions, Spain. So the crowd are on their feet at the moment, certainly expectant of a final to remember, Russia against Spain. Let's find out how the two teams line up for this absolutely colossal clash.
For Russia in goal, Anton Ikhalev, taken off a very adventurous defender, number 3. Likes to get forward, he can strike it from distance. Another one who possesses a good shot is Loktinov, the captain, number 4. Denis Igorov, number 7, back to full fitness. Big question mark over him. He was walking very gingerly in the semi-final alongside number 9, Ivanov, and plenty of action on the bench along with number 8, Evgeny Shalayev. All action, number 8.
As for Spain, of course, looking to regain a title that they haven't held since 2013. They start with Pedro Gutierrez in goal, the star for them in the penalty shootout victory over England, saving the crucial penalty from Paul Kerin-Seal. Sergio Alomar, number 7, the whiz kid on the wing for the Spaniards, hasn't really exceeded the heights that he managed to reach in the first game against Georgia. On the bench, interestingly for Spain, there are a total of 10 goals, 5 apiece for Adolfo Acosta, the number 6, and 5 for Antonio Jesus Martin, the number 9. Coach, interestingly, tonight for Spain is Jesus Bargueras. The reason for that is their usual coach, Miguel Becerra, is suspended after picking up 2 yellow cards in the victory against England.
So the two teams are lining up and introduced to the crowd. The two officials who will be on the field of play now being introduced. And from your left, you have referee Attila Balint from Romania. And also you have Francois Coquin. He's on the left of centre. Far left is the third official, and that is Michael Teek of Belgium, and Julia Carbau on the far right-hand side of Germany. Those two officials will be on the bench. They will be on the officials' table where they will be recording all the incidents and fouls that take place, and totting up all the team fouls and giving out the right information to the vast crowd here in Berlin. We're on the site of an old railway station. We actually would be sitting on the old train lines themselves. The ruins away to our right at the scoreboard end. A fancy new concert venue away to our left. Right here in the heart of Berlin. What a fantastic IBSA Blind Football European Championships that has been held here this year. And now we are ready for the final. There's Michael Peak and Francois Coquin just shaking hands. And we will now go down pitch side for the coin toss. The two captains standing in the centre. Alexei Loktinov, all in white for Russia, and the red shirts, blue shorts and red socks of Spain, and their captain, who is Yusuf Al Hadawi. Let's go live to pitch side.
Okay, Spain, Russia. On my coins. Ball or pitch? Ball. Ball, Russia, pitch. Okay. Spain. This is the ball. You choose the pitch. Okay. Okay. Ball, Spain. Okay. Good luck.
So it will be Spain kicking off this 2017 IBSA Blind Football European Championship final. Russia winning the toss and electing to go from right to left in this first period in their all-white jersey. And of course, these two sides did meet in the group stages of this competition as well. Group B, the group of death, it finished 0-0, and the biggest chance in that game was an Antonio Martin penalty right at the end of the first half, which was saved superbly by Anton Yakovlev. Of course, we have had in the back end of this week, Pete, particularly in the knockout stage of the competition, the goalkeepers really come into the fore, particularly in the penalty shootouts.
Yes, goalkeepers obviously doing an awful lot more than just saving shots and distributing the ball. They are the eyes of the defence as the two teams now break from their huddles on the far side from our commentary position, and will now take their place onto the field from our position high up in the main stand. It will be Spain from left to right, Russia all in white from right to left. Opposite us is the officials bench, and we're ready for the final of the IBSA Blind Football European Championships 2017.
And if this is the first time you've watched blind football, particularly European Championships this week, first question, where have you been? You have missed out on a belting 10 days of action. The game is 20 minutes per half. And the goalkeepers not allowed of their 2-metre rectangle just outside of their goal. The goalkeepers are sighted, the outfield players are blindfolded. They have a B1 visual impairment, which means they are completely blind, but they wear the blindfolds just so that everybody is in an even key field. And in terms of team fouls, a graphic you will see on the screen quite a lot. There will be 5 circles underneath each of the team names at the top of your screen. You're allowed 5 team fouls, which are effectively direct free kicks. If you concede a 6th in a half, however, you will concede an 8-metre penalty.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where that 6th foul takes place on the field, it will be an 8-metre penalty. The field is split into thirds, so you have a dotted line break in the field for a defensive third, midfield third and an attacking third. And on the side there's kickboards, which are slightly angled away from the players, just so it softens the blow when they actually run into those, and they can use them to pass the ball down. And the ball itself, well, it's a size 4 football, so one size smaller than your 11-a-side football that you may be used to using. It has sound devices inside, which is basically a tin sphere with ball bearings. There's 6 of them, and they make a rattling sound just like this. A bit like a baby's rattle. We've got one. We've taken a ball apart and using it as part of our presentation. And the final is now underway with Spain from left to right. Alomar on the edge of the D, turns away well from his opposite number 7. He's being pushed against the kickboard. Lovely close control, tries to find his way into the D, and he's crowded out by all 4 Russian defenders, and they bring it up to halfway.
And it's Ivanov trying to come over the halfway line, runs into the Spain captain El Hadawi, who's still got a white bandage around his head from an injury he suffered in the semi-final against England. The ball's played to the far side, the Spain left, the 2 number 7s clashing there. Alomar going into the back of Egorov, and it will be a free kick for Russia, just short of their defensive broken line, and a first foul of the game. It will be a personal foul against Sergio Alomar, and also a team foul against Spain as well for a push. So it'll be the first X on the screen going under Spain's name. There we go. So a Russian free kick, just right of centre, midway inside their own half, just short of the broken line. And Loktionov plays it for Tikhonov, who plays it diagonally low towards the left-hand side, and Ivanov with his back to goal. He then turns infield on the left corner of the centre circle, then goes back on the outside, tries to cut in from the left channel into the air. Real chance for Ivanov, first chance of the game. Munoz just got a foot in there right at the last, and then Ivanov's forced to the right side of the area. The Spanish players swarm around him, and one of them get the final touch on the ball, and it will be a Russia corner on the right-hand side. But Ivanov really causing some problems there for the Spanish defence, terrorising them early on in this game. And if he'd managed to secure his right foot behind the ball, it could have been 1-0 to Russia. But nonetheless, Alexander Arastov's team have a corner on the right. Tikhonov backhills it back for Egorov. Egorov coming in from the right-hand side. He's tripped by Ivan Lopez, and that will be a second team foul of the game going against Spain. And of course, they failed to keep their cool, really, in the game against England in the semi-finals, epitomised by their coach Miguel Becerra being sent off for a second yellow card. He's not present today for the Spanish team on the bench. Spain, incidentally, coming out of the group stages as the cleanest side, only conceding 13 team fouls, but they've conceded 2 here in the first 60 seconds. So Russia definitely holding the territorial advantage early on here. They've got a free kick around 5 metres away from the byline on the right-hand side, right next to the right-hand kickboard. Tikhonov is stood behind Egorov, and Tikhonov will just roll the ball forward gently for Egorov. Meanwhile, Ivanov's at the back post, and it's a 4-man Spanish wall at the front. So Ivanov is in clear room at the moment. How will Russia work this? The guy behind the goal, Vitaly Budakin, is just tapping out the posts so that the taker, Egorov, knows exactly where the goal frame is. The referee will put his whistle to his lips, and Russia can have a real opportunity on breaking the deadlock in this final. Egorov to square it for Ivanov, who loads down and tries to poke it towards goal on the left-hand side. He may have caught just as much of the ball as he did the goalkeeper there, Pedro Gutierrez, who of course is not allowed outside of his goal-scoring square. But Russia with the first 2 good opportunities of the match so far, and both of them fall into Evgeny Ivanov.
Yeah, good effort there by Russia. A little bit of inventive play by squaring this across the D instead of taking their shot from a very difficult angle. But it's goalless inside the first minute, and a clearance by Spain downfield, trying to find El Hadawi, who can't control inside the D, runs out for a goal kick. But a dangerous moment there for Russia. And let El Hadawi free in the D. Plenty of fans here in the stadium, especially from Spain and Russia, actually. There's quite a lot on the far side from Russia, and Spanish flags adorn our main stand. But it's on halfway with Ivanov and also El Hadawi, who just gives a bit of a push on Ivanov. And, well, they've already got 2 team fouls against them in the first minute, so they want to just be slightly calm, the Spanish. I think they've started with a bit too much adrenaline running through their veins. It's going from the left-hand side of the field over to the right, and El Hadawi now goes down the right kickboard, putting his arms out just to feel out in front of him, shoots from distance into the arms of the goalkeeper. Good effort there by El Hadawi. The crowd appreciated it by clapping, but they can only clap for a couple of seconds really, because they need to be silent so the players can hear those sound devices inside, the ball bearings that make that rattling noise. Denis Igorov in the centre circle, 4 men in front of him. He goes out wide on the right, beats a couple just through sheer pace, and just loses possession as he hits the kickboard on the right. And Spain once again through Lopez just knocked the ball over halfway. There's no one forward for Spain at the moment, so it's going to be the number 4 for Russia, Loktinov, the captain, to clear once again to halfway. Down the left kickboard, Ivanov, grey hair, comes over and squares it to the right. Denis Igorov, who is moving an awful lot freer than he was in the semi-final. Tackled by Alamar, who's got a starting berth in this final. He knocks it over to the left, and Ivanov picks it up, goes down the left-hand side past the broken line, goes to ground, nothing given, gets back to his feet quickly and tries to chase down Lopez, who, when he does tackle inside his own third, can bring it over halfway. Very tall individual and possesses a bit of skill there, but it doesn't fool Ivanov, who tackles back and wins it back for Russia. Down the left, Igorov. Now it's Tikhonov. Shot from distance, wide of the right-hand post. Speculative effort by Tikhonov.
Indeed it was, but El Hadawi going very close for Spain with their first real shot in anger of this match so far. It was well dealt with, however, by Anton Yakovlev. 2 very safe hands on that one. So Spain with the ball. It's a high looping one forward by Munoz. Loktinov couldn't deal with it, but he just got a little deflection off his left shoulder there that made it go through to Yakovlev. But a real testing ball forward that by Javier Munoz, and it nearly caused some real problems for the Russian defence. Russia have it on the halfway line. Agorov, nice turn away from Alamar, tries to dart down the right-hand side. Also Lopez and El Hadawi across there as well, but Agorov attracting all the attention from the Spaniards at the moment, still keeps possession as he comes towards the left-hand side, just short of the halfway line. He keeps the ball very close towards his feet. Nimble footwork from the number 7, who rolls it down the line for Ivanov. Poor first touch from him. He can't keep the ball in play towards the byline, but they are the medals, particularly the ones on the near side, that both teams are aiming for here. Those precious gold medals for these IBSA Blind Football European Championships. Yakovlev will bowl the ball out overarm towards the left-hand side, bounces off the kickboard. El Hadawi tried to get a foot to it, but Ivanov will come out on top, coming in from the left-hand side. The ball goes under his foot, and the loose ball is won by El Hadawi, who reacted first to the rattle in the ball. Both players being pressed up against the kickboard on the near side. Lopez joining in as well, and then plays a good left-footed ball towards the far side to test the Russian right side of their defence. Alamar picking up the ball over halfway, trying to get past Agorov. Good battle already between those two, and I remember it being the case as well in the group stage match, where both more or less cancelled each other out. Lopez midway inside his own half, right-hand side, trying to come towards the halfway line, but has to just settle to keep the ball on the broken line instead, as he couldn't get the ball away at pace. Then plays the ball down the right channel of the wing, trying to find El Hadawi. It goes out of play, however, and for a Russian ball where Yakovlev will restart.
Yeah, it's just going to be told to just hold the ball for a second, because coming onto the field will be Antonio Martin, number 9 for Spain. He's going to be coming on for 7, Sergio Alamar. So 7 being replaced by 9. And 5 minutes have gone in this first half. And a polite round of applause for Sergio Alamar. And it will be Martin, who has 5 goals in this tournament. He is the joint top goal scorer for Spain. There is Miguel Becerra, who is suspended. He is the coach of Spain, and he is standing basically 6 foot above where he would be normally. So yes, he's not on the bench, but he is standing very, very close and probably giving instructions from that position. Back to the action, Ivanov gets tackled well by Al Hadawi in the centre circle, pushed into the Russian half. Tikhonov comes over, doesn't control straight away with his first effort, now tackles the number 10, the captain of Spain, El Hadawi. El Hadawi is putting pressure on Tikhonov, who lovely flick down the right kickboard to find Igorov. Denis Igorov this is, 2 Igorovs in the Russian squad. Goes beyond his man Matan, now drifts into a central position. Igorov goes to the ground very easily, almost jumps to the ground, and the referee, especially Francois Coquin, is very experienced, and he tells the player instantly to get to his feet, and there's going to be a substitute for Russia. Coming onto the field is a player who we definitely like in the commentary box, Shalayev, number 8, and he's been replaced number 9, Ivanov. So 9 Ivanov on, off, and coming on is number 8, and that is Evangeli Shalayev. Very all-action, busy footballer, and fouls, goals, all sorts of incidents follows Shalayev. So keep an eye out on number 8 if you're watching this live stream. Long throw downfield for Spain, goes straight out for a goal kick to Russia. It's a tactic in blind football. Substitution now for Spain. There are rolling subs. You're allowed 6 per half, but they are rolling subs, so you can come off, come back on. Al Hadawi coming off, and coming onto the field is another player who we both rate. That's number 6, Alvaro Acosta, who again has 5 goals, and he wears a distinctive white headband. He's an all-action, tall, graceful player with a real powerful right-footed shot, although he's scored actually a couple with his left foot in his tournament. Roll out to the edge of the broken line for Russia. Tikhonov plays it gently down the left towards Shalayev, who controls back to the broken line, now turns into the centre, being pushed off the ball by the aforementioned Acosta, who does well, pokes it forward over the halfway line on the left. Now he's got Tikhonov in front of him, beats him, the left-hand side of the D, chance for a shot, it hits the post, the far right-hand post. What an effort and an introduction by Acosta, nearly opens a score in a lovely effort, hit the far right-hand post, comes out for Russia, and Shalayev, he's going to try and charge down the ball on the edge of the Spanish D. They're struggling to clear their lines, the Spanish defence. Shalayev gets his body in between Munoz and the ball, but Munoz is nothing but determined, comes up to halfway, a real let-off for Russia after 6 minutes, and it's going to be a free kick to Spain just outside the centre circle, but a real chance there. Good effort by Acosta, an instant impact, but very nearly opened the scoring.
It is amazing, Pete, how Acosta must have been on the pitch for around 20 seconds there before getting that first shot away in anger for him. Cannons off the far upright, and I sense that will not be the last we see of Adolfo Acosta. First team foul of the game given away by Russia, so Spain on 2 team fouls at the moment, Russia on 1, and it is Spain with a free kick in their own centre circle in a central position. Munoz stood behind Acosta, who will be tasked with charging over halfway now. Goes to the left of Tikhonov, still marauding towards the left side of the area, gets tackled there by Igorov. The referee deems it to be unfair. I presume that Francois Coquin has said that there was no shout of voy from Igorov. Of course, both sets of players have to shout voy in order for not only the teammates to be aware where the players are, but also for the opponents to be aware of that as well. So indeed, no voy was called by Tikhonov, from Igorov, sorry, and it will be a second team foul going against Russia, and things are equalised now at 2 X's on the screen each. Of course, you're allowed 5 anymore after that, and you concede an 8-metre penalty, which is 2 metres further back than a regular penalty in blind football. The team fouls are reset at half-time. Julia Kalpas on your screen there. She was the first ever international referee to officiate a game of blind football in these championships. So a free kick for Spain here in very threatening territory. 9 metres out, just left of centre. Acosta stood behind Martin, who is now on the pitch. Martin has got 5 goals to his name so far in these championships, and of course missed the penalty against Russia in the group stages in that 0-0 draw. Also in the penalty area, Ivan Lopez is currently stood in front of goalkeeper for Russia, Anton Yakovlev. Of course, offsides aren't apparent in blind football, so Lopez standing just on the edge of the goal area. He's not allowed any further forward, and Munoz is also on the end of the 4-man Russian wall.
back post have been tapped behind the goal by guide Jose Caratala. And now it'll be Martin, right-footed, good block from Tikhonov, who surged away from the wall and made sure that he got there before Martin even managed to get a connection on the ball. The ball is then cleared down the right channel alongside the foot of the kickboard, and out of play it goes for a Spanish ball. Gutierrez bowls it to his left, and Acosta, only the one man inside the Russian half at the moment for Spain, and that was the man who was intended to get the ball there, Martin, but Agorov managed to intercept first, strides over the halfway line, right-hand side, good command of the ball as he comes down the right channel towards the byline. Lopez got a big foot in there to manage to dispossess Agorov and trip him in the process as well, but the Russian number 7 has won a corner here for the 2015 runners-up, and it's yet another corner for Russia, and the pendulum is beginning to swing once again, Pete, you feel, back in Russia's favour. Spain have begun to edge their way into this game in the last couple of moments, and now it's Russia's time to try and grab this game by the scruff of the neck. Agorov stood over the ball with Tikhonov in front of him. There are 4 players back for Spain inside their own penalty area. Shalayev is lurking at the back post. Tikhonov will run with the ball down the right side, then back heel it again for Agorov. Right side of the area, coming infield to a central position, tries to get the left footer shot away. It rebounds back to him after it was initially blocked by Acosta. Munoz, no nonsense, clears it low over halfway, but straight to Tikhonov, who runs from a central position to the right. Speculative effort with the right foot just inside the attacking third, and it will be a goallie's ball for Spain. Gutierrez bowls it the left-hand side over halfway, and more or less returns the favour given to him from Tikhonov. It will now be a Russian ball.
Yeah, Russian ball, and their goalkeeper again will go long. Needs to bounce inside his own half, does so. Avoids the attention of Alfredo Acosta, and Shalayev for Russia on the left kickboard is wrestling with Lopez, who gets the better of him. He's got a good 6 or 7 inches on him as well. Puts his arm across, doesn't commit a foul. Shalayev goes down towards the corner. He'll do well to keep that from going out of play. He can't, and it runs out again for a restart to Spain. And Pedro Gutierrez, underarm throw to Matan inside his own half. Matan from the left drifts to the right, and Acosta gets clattered into by Tikhonov. Nothing given by the referees, and Acosta shoulder barge in. Tikhonov does well, goes to ground, nothing given, and then Tikhonov falls over the legs of the big Spanish number 6. Matan on the left-hand side with Igorov. He's standing up Agorov with a lovely flick around the back of his legs to find Acosta. Central position. Acosta shoots wide of the near right post. Good effort there by Acosta, but also a lot of credit goes to Matan, who managed to move the ball out of his feet and flick it behind him instantly to the feet of Acosta. Lovely play, and yes, Russia are getting back into this game slowly, but all the chances so far are really with the Spanish side. In Spain, they've got the ball once again through Acosta. He goes to ground. Again, the referee, Francois Cocu, who is officialed in the final of the Paralympics. He gives now a free kick to Spain. He gave the benefit of the doubt, actually. Really good referee in there by Francois Cocu, but what he did, he basically let the game flow from the halfway line. There was a push in the back of Acosta. He went forward about 10 yards, then a second push, he goes down, and a free kick given. Really good officiating. And he comes to the far side, stands in front of the officials and says it's a free kick to Spain. It is the second team foul, the second personal foul for Tikhonov, and it is the third team foul for Russia. So 3 for Russia, 2 for Spain. And again, if you're wondering what those crosses are below the teams on your screen at the top, you'll notice Russia have 3, Spain have 2. And they are team fouls. You'll add 5 per half. Any more than an 8-metre penalty kick for every further infringement. Free kick to Spain. 8 minutes and 22 seconds gone in this first half. 2 halves of 20. Acosta from the right tries to go towards the centre to get a shot off on goal, and well, across comes Tikhonov, who gave away the free kick, and he squares it towards Igorov on the right, who's going to be battling with Matan. The ball's trapped against the kickboard. They can't hold on with 2 hands onto that kickboard. 1 hand by each player, but Matan manages to spin his man well over the halfway line towards the broken line. Stops again, goes over to the left. Good dribbling skill. Stops again, trying to throw the scent away from the players. Shoots from distance, wide of the near post. Another good effort, and another big round of applause by this huge crowd here in Berlin.
Wonderful stuff from Antonio Martin, who has experience of playing in World Cup finals. And he certainly showed what he was made of there with some great footwork. And wonderful command of the ball. Tikhonov plays it to the right, and Agorov, who had a very lively first few minutes in this game, but he's slightly gone quiet as we encroach towards the 10-minute mark. Lopez is in his back, the ball against the kickboard on the far side, rolls inside the Russian half now, and Lopez latches onto the end of it. The ball's not moving very quickly at the moment, and it's a bit of a wrestling match between Agorov and Lopez. Tikhonov decides to take over from Agorov now on that far side. Lopez switches it towards the near side, the Spanish right, and Acosta. He's facing his own halfway line, but turns well away from Ivanov, trying to stride towards the right-hand side of the area. Wins a free kick, does Adolfo Acosta, who's proved a real thorn in the Russian side since coming on as a substitute, and it will be a free kick for Spain just outside the broken line. Martin will go across to take, and this is a bit of skill from Martin a few moments ago on the replay now, really toying with the Russian side, got him on a piece of string as he pulled them from left to right before striking the effort wide. But it will be Spain now with the set piece and a 14th foul of the game for Russia, who are really pushing things a bit now. We're not even at the halfway point of this first period yet, and they're almost at the dreaded 5. Martin on the right-hand side, comes over the broken line, charges towards the penalty area in the central position now. He's got two white shirts in front of him. Oh, he fires the gap, and he just hits it straight at Anton Yakovlev. A wonderful strike from Martin, who definitely looks keen in this game to bag himself a 6th goal of the championships. Ivanov switches the ball from left to right for Russia now. On the far side, Martin wins the ball and gallops over the halfway line. He's looking very hot at the moment, is Martin. He comes down to the left side of the area. 3 white shirts around him this time. He hits the captain, Loktionov, and it squirms towards the near side, and Acosta comes onto the scene. He tries to put the pressure on as well now. Acosta in the central position, real chance, and it's the deadlock broken by Spain, and the substitute Adolfo Acosta, who bags his 6th goal of the tournament. He'd already hit the post in this match, and now he unleashes a left-footed strike low into the bottom right corner of Anton Yakovlev's net. First blood drawn by Spain in this 2017 Blind Football European Championship final. Spain 1, Russia 0.
Alfredo Acosta, we mentioned when he came onto the field that he's a star of this Spanish side, and he's a player that's impressed both of us in this championship, and he breaks the deadlock after earlier hitting the post. And it's, to be fair, all that Spain deserve, because they have created the chances. They've tested the goalkeeper, they've tested the woodwork as well, and they go in front in this IBSA Blind Football European Championship final in Berlin. And the crowd, the noise in the stadium when that ball hit the back of the net, and it's still, you can feel the atmosphere. And smiles on the faces of everyone in here who's supporting either Spain or here just to witness the competition. A foul on Igorov, and it will be a free kick to Russia. This is the replay of the Spanish goal. Acosta from the edge of the D with his left foot. Mentioned he's got a good right foot. Left-footed in the far corner. Nothing the goalkeeper can do. And the Russian coach is going to have words with his players. And you get a good view from that balloon as well. That's above the ruins of that railway station. That was the front of the railway station, which actually was one of the biggest in Europe in its time. That's the action, and this free kick for Russia. So 4 team fouls for Russia, 3 currently for Spain, and we're only halfway through the first half. And I think that goal will, strangely, settle down both teams. So Igorov looks like he's going to be the player to receive the tap through from Tikhonov to strike this. Pedro Gutierrez, the goalkeeper, he's got the wall lined up covering the near post, which is the left from our vantage point. The goal away to our left, we are now turning to look towards. And Igorov, the favourite, will probably be moving it to the right to a more central position and then striking at goal. But who knows what he will do. Igorov with the free kick does go to a central position, stops and now strikes. He tries to go back across the goalkeeper, similar to a goal that Russia scored against Turkey early on in the tournament, and it's pushed up to halfway. to Martin. Martin does very well on the halfway line. Lovely ball skills, just getting the ball controlled, and now he can maybe start to dribble or pass the ball off, and he decides to do the latter and pass it down the right for Acosta. Acosta's being crushed against the kickboard there by a couple of Russian defenders, but he's a very powerful individual, holds them off and passes back to Munoz on the halfway line. Now in the centre circle, which he's got to himself. Across comes Tikhonov and a scoop ball forward to try and find Martin. Good inventive play, but too much on that, and it bounces out of play for a Russian goal kick.
Not the first time Munoz has tried that looped ball forward. I wonder if he's been told by Miguel Picara to try that tactic and really trouble the Russian defence, who so far in these championships have dealt with everything successfully that's come towards them. Egorov, midway inside his own half, left-hand side. He tries to scoop the ball forward down now the left channel. Over halfway, Ivanov a bit slow to react to that one, and Lopez could just shepherd it out of play for a Spain ball, which Gutierrez will take. Not many happy faces on the Russian bench so far, and that's because after 11.5 minutes, it's Spain that lead by a 1-0. Munoz with the ball, left of centre, midway inside his own half. Again goes for the lobbed ball forward. Lokchinov doesn't read it. Martin with a real chance, stabs it towards the goalkeeper, who saves really well. Yakovlev from close range. Martin had a second stab at it, but again Yakovlev came out on top, and Russia can breathe a big sigh of relief. Egorov, right-hand side, midway inside the Spain half. Couple of red shirts in front of him. Ivanov's an option on the left if he can hear the call from him. He tries to go alone there, does Egorov, as he comes inside, but Lopez, who's been very commanding in the middle so far for Spain, wins the ball and battles for it down the left-hand side, beats Tikhonov for strength. Lopez trying to make his way inside of Tikhonov now. He's retreated very well and is forcing the big Spaniard back towards halfway. Martin is there to pick up the loose bits, and he now comes inside. Midway inside the Russian half, goes back on the left again. Real chance, hits the side netting. Thought for a moment that had gone the other side of Anton Yakovlev's right-hand post. But for Russia, thankfully for them, they managed to ride another Spanish storm.
Yeah, shot into the side netting. That's his last bit of action for the meantime, because he's gone off the field. Coming on is number 10, Yusuf Al-Hadawi, who certainly has a vicious shot in him. He's actually part of our goal of the tournament, which you can vote for still up until half-time. You can find the goals on Twitter at Euro 2017 Berlin. Find us on Facebook. And also send us any questions, hashtag the sound of football. Tell us where you're watching this live stream as Ivanov goes down, and it's going to be a free kick to Russia just outside the D, around 8 metres from goal. If you go to the website euro2017.berlin, euro2017.berlin, you can find the goal of the competition, and you can then vote, and you've got around about 8 minutes to get involved. You've got until half time. Now, this free kick, it's the 4th team foul for Spain. So 4 each, and there is still time. There's still 7.5 minutes, which is quite a lot. There's going to be a timeout as well called by Russia. So the two sides go over to the far side, and we'll have a minute chat with their coaches, take on fluids, and the discussion on the two benches will be very different indeed, because over on the Russian side, they'll be discussing how to get back into this game and how to test the goalkeeper, Pedro Gutierrez, who for long periods of this first half has been relatively unemployed. And then for Spain, it's probably keep it going, because they've been creating chances, they've had chances, and they've taken one, but the others aren't that far away. Side netting, saves by the keeper. They've got the shooting boots on today, have the Spanish?
They absolutely have, and one thing that would worry me if I was of a Russian persuasion is that they pride themselves on their defensive strengths. Now, so far in this game, we have had, of course, Russia saved by the post, saved here by their goalkeeper Yakovlev, who was very close to coming outside of his goal area, but did very well from close range to deny Martin on that occasion. And I just worry that Russia are being a bit over-reliant here on Denis Egorov. Of course, he suffered a foot injury at the back end of Russia's Group B campaign, and he did look like a shadow of the man he usually is in their semi-final against France. They scraped through that just about, but in this game they need a big performance from him, and I'm just wondering if the pressure getting to Denis Egorov at the moment is a bit too heavy for his shoulders, and he does seem to be limping a little bit as he comes towards this free kick on the left-hand side. And of course he didn't start the game in the semi-final against France, but after that early goal conceded against the French, it did mean that Betelay Boudikin
did have to pull out all the stops, push Denis Agorov through the pain barrier and get him back to try and get Russia to where they are now. But they trail by a goal to nil, and Agorov will be tasked from this free kick to try and equalise things. It's a 4-man Spanish wall protecting the front post of Pedro Gutierrez' net. The free kick itself around 9 metres out, quite left of centre. And Gutierrez, you may just be able to hear, ordering the Spanish wall exactly where to be. And at the end of that 4-man Spanish wall is Evgeny Ivanov, who's trying to be a bit of a nuisance. The post being tapped either side of the goal frame by Vitaly Budakin in the red shirt and blue shorts. Of course, the guide are the attacker's eyes, really, especially in this very offensive situation where Russia really here, if they take their opportunity, grab a massive equaliser 7.5 minutes before the break. Agorov cuts in on the right foot, shot towards the far post. Gutierrez down low to his left-hand side to parry it away towards the far kickball. The crowd told to be quiet momentarily so that the players can hear the rattle of the ball in that far corner. Ivanov battling with Munoz. It's moved backwards now for Agorov, who motors into a left-footed position, cuts in from the right. It drifts well wide, however, of Gutierrez's right-hand post. And Spain there have been rarely troubled in this game so far, but Gutierrez still able to be hot on his toes and be able to make the save. Acosta, he tries flicking the ball towards the back post. Well, just down by El Hadaoui, real chance, pokes it wide from close range, and that could have been a chance to double Spain's lead.
Yeah, guilt-edged chance for El Hadaoui. The ball was bouncing, so it makes it doubly difficult. But any sort of decent connection surely would have found the goal, and well, being 2 up at half-time in the final would have been a real bonus for Spain. But anyway, back with the action, and Ivanov over the broken line down the left, just being pushed wide, actually can't get a shot off, and rolls his head in anger and disappointment. Remember, both teams have those 4 fouls, so there's plenty of action left in this first half. 6.5 minutes as the long ball doesn't find Acosta. He accidentally collides with Loktinov. It was his right foot, stuck out his right foot to try and control the ball, but manages to take out the captain of Russia. Long throw out by Karlov down the left. Can't find Ivanov. He goes to ground again. He's not had the best 5 minutes of his life, and it runs out for a corner, so we'll have an option from the left. And Francois Coquin manages to pick the ball up and walk over to the left. Puts it down on the D, ready for this corner. 3 men in the wall for Spain. There goes Ivanov. Again tries to square it, but this time Gutierrez uses his feet and parries it out. To the halfway, Tikhonov does well to keep to his feet under good pressure from El Hadaoui. El Hadaoui rolls it back to Munoz. Munoz then flicks it to Acosta on the left. Acosta now dribbles inside up to the broken line. Acosta tries to go past the entire defence of Russia. He's still battling for it and wins it back and pushes it into his own half accidentally, but finds Munoz.
There's a lack of cohesion at the back at the moment for Russia, and that is so uncharacteristic of them, particularly from what we've seen in these championships so far. The look rattle, Loktinov can't clear it away. El Hadaoui on the angle turns and fires it wide of the near post, and more or less summing up Russia's first half defensively there. Spain very easy to break down the back line of the Russians, who are now going to make a change, and Evgeny Shalayev will replace Ivanov for the second time in this match, and the number 8 tasked here to create a bit of a spark in this game to ignite Russia's comeback, if there is going to be one, particularly before half-time. 5.5 minutes to go before the half-time whistle. Yakovlev will go for the long ball inside right channel. It goes past 2 Spanish players. Shalayev will try and control it towards the byline. The last touch did come off Munoz, though, as he slid in there to try and retrieve the situation. So it will be a Russia corner on the right-hand side, and Russia are beginning to play a little bit quicker, particularly than before they conceded the goal from Adolfo Acosta. But judging from the face of Alexander Erostov there on your screen, you certainly wouldn't think that Russia had improved in this half. Shalayev and Agorov stood over the ball on the far side. It will be Agorov to run around the perimeter of the penalty area, gets into a central position, stands on the ball with his left foot inadvertently. Acosta can't completely get the ball away, but a good cool turn away from the big number 6 gets him out towards the left hand side. Shalayev winning the ball back. Munoz trying to come across to help out Acosta, and Munoz does win the ball. And one thing I have to say about Munoz, it's an excellent tournament, and he's an underrated mainstay at the back for Spain, and he's playing a good ball down the right hand side there for El Hadaoui, who goes for a shot on goal. Not for the first time El Hadaoui had a bit of an angle there, that the poorest of the lot, however, and it goes wide of the near post. Bowled out by Yakovlev to the right, and Shalayev over halfway, trying to turn past Acosta. Acosta's in his back though, and Shalayev is faced up here against the kickboard on the far side, turns really well inside, and Acosta does trip the Russian number 8. He's a diminutive figure, is Shalayev, who may have felt hard done by that he's not got more starting bursts so far in these championships, but Acosta bringing the Russian down there, and that could be, and it is, the 15th foul of the half against Spain. One more team foul going against the Spaniards will result in an 8-metre penalty for Russia, and this could be backs against the wall stuff for Spain at the back end of this first period.
Yes, doesn't matter where the foul is committed, it will be an 8-metre penalty for Russia. But there is only 4.5 minutes left, which is still quite a long time in blind football, with the clock stopping every time the ball goes out of play, or for even an infringement. There's a few bit of a shouting match going on between the bench of Spain and the Russian guide. The Russian guide is still telling the Shalayev and Igorov exactly what's going on with the wall. He can't do that once he's had his opportunity to say the instructions to the forwards. He now can't say anything. Plus the ball is outside of the broken line. Ball passed forward to Igonov, who controls inside the D, can't get a shot off on goal, and he's swarmed by red shirts. Munoz follows the ball as per usual. Back to El Hadaoui. Lovely drag back by El Hadaoui, the Spanish captain, down the right-hand side, over the halfway line. Only a couple of players before he gets to the D. He gets to the broken line and gets tackled well by Igorov, who gets back and keeps his foot in just. Igorov inside his own half. Russia will be hoping he would be in the other half at the moment, but he's had to do a bit of defending. It's Spain who are leading this final by 1-0. Shalayev on the right, tries to go beyond Lopez, can't, and Lopez now brings it up down the centre, stops in the centre circle, the tall number 4, with close control for the big man. Now goes himself, he's going to try and get his name on a score sheet in the final when he just overruns the ball and through for a Russian goal kick, and he's going to get actually a corner, so it must have just come off a Russian boot, so it's going to remain inside the Russian half, and the Spanish have called a timeout.
Indeed they have, and I wonder there if that's been called by Miguel Becerra, who's just perched above the Spanish bench in the stand at the moment, looking over his teammates. Spanish coach today, in place of Miguel Becerra, is Jesus Bargueras, and there is Miguel Becerra on the right of your screen, and indeed he is communicating with the Spanish reserve goalkeeper Sergio Rodriguez at the moment, who will then pass that information back to the Spanish bench. I'm not too sure about the rule book in this situation, Pete, but Miguel Becerra there certainly looking a little bit guilty of something in the stand on the far side, now beginning to cover his mouth a bit. But Spain are the team leading by 1-0 at the break, and with those 5 X's against them going into the final 3.5 minutes, they do have to be careful not to concede another foul. Russia, well supported at these championships, looking to try and get themselves back into this game at the end of this first period. It's been a tight one, but Spain have fractionally edged it.
Yeah, the coach, sorry, Jonathan, just again, his position in the stand is directly above the bench. He's standing 6 foot above the bench, and he's given instructions to the bench, so to keep a close eye on anything that happens there. Referee Michael Peake is actually standing just below his position. Back to the action. It's going to be a Spanish corner. Acosta with the corner, back to a more central position, slightly overruns the ball, and Tikhonov takes it off his toes and goes down the left and just has to check back up, tries to back heel away from Munoz, who's very tenacious. He's going to keep with him, although Tikhonov's just got a bit of pace, just slightly overruns the ball there. Did well not to twist his ankle in standing on the ball. Now he goes down the right, Tikhonov, being followed by El Hadawi, who gets back very well for Spain. And they've really limited Russia to only a few shots from distance. Tikhonov, who can strike from distance, again, he's got 4 red shirts between him and the D. Can't find any room at all. Spanish shirts swarming around him, and El Hadawi, and he gets a kick out on the Russian number 3. Foul, free kick to Spain inside their own half, and it's going to be the 5th team foul for Russia. So any more for either side, 8-metre penalty kicks.
Well, Russia have managed to equalise themselves with Spain in one sense there with that 15th foul of the half. Of course, they do get reset at the half-time interval, but both teams living a very charmed life at the moment. And if one more is conceded by either team, then it will be an 8-metre penalty for against the offender. Acosta trying to rampage down the centre of the Russian half. Tikhonov wins the ball and goes down the right-hand side over the halfway line. He stopped in his tracks, but then wins the ball back. And Tikhonov getting a bit more of the ball in the last few minutes. Plays it to the left now, and Agorov just short of the broken line. Then plays the ball square across the broken line to the far side. Shalayev slow to react. El Hadawi there first. The referee almost put his whistle to his lips there against Shalayev, but opted not to in the end. That could have been fatal. Munoz then coming down the left, and this time the referee does put his whistle to his lips and indicates a foul against Russia, and this should be an 8-metre penalty against Russia now. Indeed it is. So, Spain have a penalty and an opportunity just over 2 minutes before the end of this first half to double their lead in this game and really get one hand firmly gripped onto the European Championship trophy. There will be substitution just beforehand, and actually it's Adolfo Acosta who's gone towards the ball here, who is about to be replaced. Has the coach of Spain there, Jesus Bargueras, decided against that? It seems as though he has. So Adolfo Acosta is allowed a few more seconds on the field of play in order to take this penalty and possibly not only bag a brace, but get Spain 2 goals ahead in the first half of this European Championship final. It's Acosta from 8 metres out against Anton Yakovlev, who of course saved a penalty against Spain in the group stage of this competition earlier on in the tournament. He's now tasked to replicate the exact same again. So Yakovlev allowed off his line for an 8-metre penalty. Faces Acosta. Silence in the stadium. It will be eruption if he scores, and he misses. He fires it wide of Yakovlev's left-hand post. How pivotal a moment in the game could that be in the long run?
Yeah, Costa pokes it wide of the right-hand post, and like you said, could be pivotal. It could actually be the first of a few 8-metre penalty kicks. Both sides on 5 fouls, as Igorov is just going backwards and forwards, left to right, inside the centre circle. Now goes down the left. Acosta is all over the back of him. The Spanish defenders are going to have to be careful. Switches play to Shalayev on the right, who gave away that foul. Just stumbles on the ball. He's inside the final third. Shalayev back heels it down the line, tries to follow it up inside the D, and Munoz does very well, and again goes up over halfway, continues his run. He's got one more defender in front of him who pokes it into his ankle, goes down, but nothing given. And again, it's Tikhonov downfield, straight over halfway, down the centre. Tikhonov approaching the D, stops. Can he move this onto his right foot? He does have a big shot on him. That goes wide of the right post. And it's going to be a substitution for Spain. Coming off the field will be number 6, Alfredo Acosta. And onto the field for the first time in this final will be number 3, Jose Luis Griera. So Griera onto the field, and Acosta has been replaced.
And of course this substitution was going to be taken originally just before the penalty was given, Pete, and I wonder if there's a couple of regrets on the Spanish touchline at the moment that they'd not taken Adolfo Acosta off just before that 8-metre strike was taken. Nonetheless, it's gone now. Spain still leading by 1-0, and we have 90 seconds remaining in this first period of this 10th European Championship final.
Gutierrez at the back for Spain. All but one of his outfield players currently up in the opposing half at the moment. The exception Munoz, left-hand side. Plays it diagonally towards the near side, the right. And here is Guerra, first touch in this final for him. Pulls it back, it comes off Loktionov, and it will be a corner on the near side for Spain, who may have missed a penalty a few moments ago, but they're certainly ending this first period with their tails up. Substitution also being made before the half-time interval is up, and leaving the field is their captain, Yusuf Al-Hadawi, who's had a few opportunities towards Anton Yakovlev's net. He'll be maybe disappointed he didn't manage to bag one of them, but he's replaced by Antonio Martin, who definitely looked keen to strike towards the back of the net when he was on in the first few moments of this match. So it's a Spain corner, near side the right. Martin stood in front of Lopez, and Martin will be the one you'd imagine to try and make his way around the three-man Russian wall, who are situated at the front post of Yakovlev's net. Martin into the area, left-footed shot from the right side of the box, fires it wide and across the face of goal to Yakovlev's right-hand post. Yakovlev throws it down the left-hand side, Agorov over halfway, pokes it towards the far side, and Shaliev gets a fortunate rebound off the kickball straight into his path, and then he gallops past Martin on the right-hand side into the broken line now, and Lopez turns away very coolly indeed with the ball, and now marauds forward over the halfway line. Tikhonov's in front of him. Tikhonov, no idea where Lopez is at the moment, but Lopez hesitates and stops, then continues his run, then checks back inside again. Lopez still going. Voy was called according to the referee, that's why there was no foul there for that minor trip. Shaliev worms away with possession, right-hand side kickboard, trying to burst past Martin, goes down under the challenge of the Spanish number 9. The referee again saying there was no infringement, and the Russian coach is going absolutely ballistic on the far side at the moment there, Alexander Arastov, and he really needs to begin to calm down, because that can't be a good effect on the Russian players if they hear him shouting like that. Martin, left-hand side, going towards the byline, then checks back again. Martin cutting inside, right for his shot. What a save by Yakovlev at his near post. Palms it out towards the near side. Guerra picks up the loose pieces, right side of the area, tries to shoot from a tight angle. It's blocked to the front post and then squirms back through for Yakovlev. But what an incredible save at the end of that first half to potentially keep Russia in this tie as we go into the half-time interval. And I think he recognises as well just how big a stop that one was, denying Spain from doubling their advantage in this match. So the half-time whistle goes then here in Berlin in the 10th ever IBSA Blind Football European Championship final, and it is currently Spain leading by 1-0. The goal coming from Adolfo Acosta, who had already hit the post in this match with a left-footed strike. He then managed to break the deadlock by cutting in from the right-hand channel and firing it in with the left foot into the far corner of the net. He then had a chance to double Spain's lead from the 8-metre penalty spot, but his right-footed kick went well wide of Anton Yakovlev's net. But Yakovlev, who made a few decent saves in the first period for Russia, saved his best until right to the last second. A wonderful save down to his right-hand side with the right paw, and he managed to just tip it away from his goal to stop Spain running away with this final. So the half-time score then here in Berlin, it's Russia 0, Spain 1.
Well, we said at the top of the programme, could the hosts of the next World Cup in blind football be the reigning European champions when they get there? Well, they are halfway to completing that task. Pete Selby alongside me. Jonathan earlier on said he thinks Spain will win this. They look very good. In fact, 8 shots from Russia, 16 from Spain. They are on top in this, there's no doubting that. However, they were treading a very, very thin line towards the end there. They had the 5 team fouls. Any more would have given Russia an in, should I say.
That's right. It's kind of gone the way I thought. I said before the game that Spain have that X factor. They've got that magic touch, and there's very little between the two teams. Apart from that, they've created that little bit extra. Russia have played very well, very solid, very physical. But again, they've given away 5 team fouls. So did Spain. So it made it for an exciting last 5 minutes. But Spain do have that little bit more up front, and that ultimately is what the difference is at half-time.
Okay, so it is 1-0 to Spain here at half-time. Let's take a look at the highlights of that first half.
Yeah, Acosta didn't actually start the game for Spain, and as soon as he came on, within about 10 seconds, he gets the ball onto the edge of the D and nearly opens the scoring. Very unlucky, hitting the far post and came out to a Russian player. Martin, again, really good close control, sending the defenders left and right, and his shot on target as well, something that Russia haven't done when they've had their chances, although they have been few and far between. But eventually the deadlock was broken, and it was Acosta who managed to score. Left-footed efforts, he can score with his right foot, he's two-footed, but pokes it past the goalkeeper, and again, that's just the difference between the two sides, getting the chances but taking them.
All of the audio describers here at this competition are actually picking the player of the tournament, and I will tell you, whilst we don't know the answer fully, Acosta's got to be in the mix for that, hasn't he?
He's got to be in the mix. He's not just the player who scores goals, he's an all-round blind footballer. He will get back and defend. He's a tall individual, he's got pace, he's got power, he's got a lot of skill, he's got absolutely everything. And the one aspect of his game that I like is he's a no-nonsense player. When he gets on the edge of the D, he takes a shot, hits it powerfully, and if it's on target, it's very difficult for the goalkeeper.
A rare highlight of a Russian shot, a missed penalty. A couple of moments ago, Russia lucky, one of their goalkeeper's foot outside. Great save towards the end of the half there. Yakolev keeping his team in it. Okay, so we can reveal the winner of our goal of the tournament competition. Hope you voted. We had 8 absolute belters to choose from, but the winner, and well done, is this.
Now brought out by the tall Dan English down the right-hand side, over the halfway, dribbles inside, past the broken line, edge of the D, into the back of the net. What a start for England, and what a start for Dan English. A cracking goal that started in his own half. He went over the halfway line, right-hand side, drifted into a central position, and then let fly from all of 10 metres. Goalkeeper with no chance, past his right-hand side in a blink of an eye. With his right foot, Dan English opens the scoring in style. It's England 1, France 0.
Just the start that John Pugh would have wanted from his England players. A tremendous finish.
So goal of the tournament goes to Dan English. Small consolation, I'm sure, though, after the horror show in the semi-final. Those dying moments knocking England out. Here, Pete, Russia have got firepower, but it's not firing.
It's not. They've had a lot of possession in that final third, but I can't remember Gutierrez really being called into action. He's a very good goalkeeper, he's got fantastic reactions. He's actually playing because Rodriguez injured himself a few games ago, injured his right knee. But for me, what Russia need to do is they need to turn that possession into chances. Maybe that's playing more of Shalev. I would start him up top. He is an all-action player, lots to get about the pitch. I would put him on the edge of the D and say, you're the star man, you're the player who has that little bit extra. Igorov is carrying an injury. Just put yourself on the edge of the D. You're the man to get us back into this game.
It is all about these trophies right here on the table. Runner-up, champion of Europe. Who is going to take that title? Pete, do you see this staying as it is? Will Spain take this title from here, or is there something else that Russia have got to give?
I think there's going to be 5 team fouls again for both teams in the second half. If the score remains 1-0, I can't see there not being fouls. It's going to happen, it naturally would. And that might be the difference. Who takes their 8-metre penalty? Is it going to be Russia? Is it going to be Spain? That could be the difference between the two. That's if it remains 1-0. If Spain go off and go 2-3, maybe 4 up, then I don't think that would happen. But if it remains 1-0, all very close, then I think it might be 8-metre penalty kicks that decides this final.
So we have a short message from everybody here in Berlin, from IBSA and the local organising committee, and that's a big thank you to everybody that has viewed, whether it through Facebook or through YouTube. Over 1 million people have viewed games throughout the course of this competition. That is a huge thing for us to have in the sport, and we'd like to thank all of you. Now, on your screen, Pete, the Spanish coach is talking to his team. Now, I'm not sure where the rules are. I'm not sure what the rules are. I know he's definitely been sent to the stand. We questioned how close during that half he was to the team, and the answer I got was, well, it's a small stand. What else can we do? Fair enough. He was banned. He was banned from the match. He is allowed to sit in the stand. It is pretty close. Are they allowed here? That would be an interesting question, but there you go. They're actually tucked behind our broadcast van, so maybe they thought they were hiding. Never hide where people have got cameras. So the second half is preparing itself. Spanish fans and Russian fans and German locals have all come out tonight to witness the final game of these 2017 IBSA Blind Football European Championships. They're making their way back out onto the field. So for the final time in this competition, we are allowed to hand over to your commentators who have done a fantastic job. It's Jonathan Bell and Peter Selby.
Thank you very much, Alan. Very close to the second half of this game getting started. And of course, tonight is Mayweather against McGregor. Well, it's fights on the field that are currently taking the front stage of this game, as both teams, as Pete mentioned at the break, conceding 5 team fouls. Pete's crystal ball says that there's going to be much more of the same in the second period, and it doesn't look as if either side has made a change going into this second half. Does that mean that Russia are content with the way they played in the first period and they feel like they've got a couple more gears to go up to, Pete?
I think, and as I was discussing with Alan at half-time, it's still very close. It's only 1 goal in it, so if they get an early goal, it's 1-1 and game on. They did little wrong in the first half, Russia, apart from when they had the ball in the final third. They didn't just create the chances, and that's the difference between the two sides. Matan and especially Acosta, once they got into their positions, they managed to move the ball away from the defenders and get the shots in on goal, and more importantly than that, get them on target as well. You can see the medals in the background there that will be handed out. And so at half-time, if I was the Russian manager, I would turn around and say basically more of the same and keep it going. And when you get the chances, obviously you've got then to take them. But at the moment, the same players are on. I mentioned about Shaliev. He could be that extra spark. But one thing's for sure, I think that Russia are definitely in this, and it might go down to those 8-metre penalties, because I can see another 5 being caused for each team in this second half.
Well, of course, a big game for the players, a big game for the officials as well, who have to be brave in order to give those 8-metre kicks. Francois Coquat called into doing that in the first period against Russia, but Spain missed their kick. Will Russia manage to go down the other end and get a response in this match? Shaliev going down on the edge of the penalty area due to a challenge from Munoz. Nothing wrongdoing according to the official, as Gutierrez bowls it towards the left-hand side. El Adawi comes over the halfway line, ticking off, battling with him on the near side, midway inside the Russian half. El Adawi then tries to switch the ball with a high ball. It hits the face of Agorov and break back down the left-hand side for El Adawi again, who's trying to negotiate his way through 4 white Russian shirts. It squirms all the way through for Yakovlev, however, at the back, and he will play from his goal area to the right, and Shaliev just over the halfway line. El Adawi faces him up. Shaliev switches it towards the far side. A good interception from the big right foot of Adolfo Acosta, the goal scorer. Comes in from the right channel, just short of halfway. Stops the ball a couple of times to make sure it's under his feet, and then he goes infield, back on the out again. Right foot, a shot from Acosta. It trickles towards the goalkeeper, Anton Yakovlev. A big chance that for Acosta if he'd got sufficient purchase on the ball. He didn't, however, and the ball will go down the other end, and Russia will try and get themselves an attack going themselves. Agorov coming to the right-hand side, over halfway, coming towards the broken line now. Spain with everyone back inside their defensive zone. Agorov slips momentarily on the edge of the centre circle. And, of course, I said in the first half, he's the man tasked with trying to do things more or less himself, Agorov. He's failed again, and El Adawi goes down the other end. Can he punish them? He just hits it wide of Yakovlev's right-hand post, and out it goes for a goalkeeper's ball for Russia. Yakovlev bowls it overarm down the right-hand side, over halfway. El Adawi can't control, but the ball will trickle out at the other end for a Spanish ball, and it will be Gutierrez throwing it out from the back, but his captain El Adawi very much almost doubled Spain's lead, and Spain very much knocking on the door, but Russia keep widening these waves. Adolfo Acosta coming forward towards the right corner of the area. He shoots again, and Yakovlev gets down to his left-hand side, 2 hands on it, and denies the big Spaniard from getting a second of this match. But Spain certainly starting the second period as they ended the first. Loktionov rolls it down the left-hand side via a cannon off the kickball, but straight into the path of Lopez, who comes forward over the halfway line, right side of the area again. Loktionov, his opposite number, coming across to shepherd the ball out, but Spain looking very keen and eager to get a second in this contest right from the start in the second period.
Down the other end though with Shalayev, who stops it from going out of play on the right, does very well, now drifts across towards the centre, tries to backheel it through the legs of Munoz and then run around him. He doesn't succeed in doing that, and Munoz brings it up to halfway, pushing the Russian defence with him. And Munoz, he really is, he's a rhinoceros of a player with the greatest of respect. He puts his head down and charges at the defence, and even if he doesn't have the ball, he pushes them back into the final third. And here's Al-Hadawi from the edge of the D, shoots into the side netting. A real chance, another chance for Spain, and at the moment it's looking more like it will be Spain doubling their lead than Russia getting the equaliser. It's with Tikhonov inside his own third. Turns, Russia all in white, shooting from left to right. Spain in their red shirts, blue shorts, red socks from right to left. Shalayev, the number 8 for Russia, across the broken line to the left. Can't control the ball. It's Lopez who does well, brings it over halfway, tries a Marseille roulette on the edge of the D. Can he score from the edge of the D with his right foot? Flushes it over the top of the crossbar. And another effort on goal. And at the moment, they're peppering the woodwork in the net of the Russian goal, but the goal has not come for Spain in this second half. It's still just the one. This is a replay of Al-Hadawi's effort from only a minute ago. Right foot effort just wide of the left-hand post, and that Russian goal is leading a very charmed life at the moment. Shalayev, who really is the live wire up front for Russia at the moment. He's on the right, been well jostled and hurried by Al-Hadawi, but he breaks away from him, edge of the D. Similar position actually from where Adolfo Acosta's shot went in. This one hits the defender and Al-Hadawi clears, and that might be a tactic for Spain in this half. The longer it goes on, the longer they're in front. Nearly 4 minutes gone. Spain leading in the final of the IBSA Blind Football European Championships by a 1-0. Acosta tries to turn Igorov. He does so in a fashion, didn't do it the way he thought. He actually put his foot around the ball and it sliced away to the right, and he now has lost possession. It's with Russia, and there's a foul being caused by Acosta. Came across, caught Tikhonov. Free kick Russia just inside their own half, but they can build from here.
Well, it's predominantly been one-way traffic in this second period as of yet, and Russia will try and, I think, initially just calm the game down. Russia do a lot better when the game is tight than they do when it's open, and Spain are definitely trying to encourage Russia to come out from the back and leave spaces in their defence, and Russia are not wanting to fall into that trap at the moment. Tikhonov comes up to the halfway line, plays it right-footed down the line for Shalayev with his back to the byline, fails to control the ball, however, as Lopez goes across, and it will be a Spain ball at the back with Gutierrez, the hero, of course, in their semi-final penalty shootout victory against England. Lopez, left corner of the area, plays a good, strong diagonal ball towards the far side, but it cannons off the kickboard just in front of Acosta, who can't bring it under control, and now Spain will have to do some defending as Russia bowl it out towards the left-hand side and halfway. Agorov takes the ball in his spell, then stops in the centre circle, goes out to the left-hand side, being jockeyed by Costa at the moment. Agorov then goes on the outside of him. Great show of pace as he gets past not just Acosta, but Lopez momentarily as well. Lopez manages to get his body back, though, alongside the kickboard on the far side, then turn in field and clear it away with the left foot. And Acosta can break against 2 Russian defenders. One of them is Tikhonov, who almost there, lost out to Acosta. Tikhonov battles back at the second attempt, though, just inside his defensive zone, and manages to bring the ball out for the Russians. Comes up towards the halfway line, then goes in field. Lopez trying to get his body in the way. The referee says void was called and all is good. Al-Hadawi clears hesitantly towards the far side. Anywhere will do at the moment for Spain, but they've got it in their right corner position, really close to the byline here, and Acosta just toe pegs it away down the centre of the field, and it fortuitously finds Al-Hadawi, who stops the ball and turns, faces the Russian goal, loses the ball under his feet initially, and Tikhonov got back, then charges into Shalayev. Loktinov trying to calm things down, but Loktinov is stamping at the ground at the moment, and this is because, Pete, he knows he can do so much better. He's that calming influence at the back for Russia, is their captain, and so far that has not been the case. A substitution for Spain, meanwhile, as Adolfo Costa is replaced by Antonio Martin. But for me at the moment, every time Spain bring a player on, Pete, it's no respite for the Russian defence. Spain have so much strength in depth that Russia don't seem to have offensively.
No, and I think they're annoyed because they are still in this game and they're just not creating any chances. And we know that the captain can score. That's Loktinov, who, if they do get any penalties, which, looking at the scoreline, it's 1-0 in terms of goals for Spain, but it's also 1-0 in terms of fouls committed. So at the moment, it's not looking that way. It's been a relatively clean second half, and we've had 5 minutes and 28 seconds of it. But Russia is still in this, but they're not creating anything at all. Are still struggling to remember a save from Pedro Gutierrez away to our right. It's going to be a corner to Spain from the right. Martin drives into the D, straight from the corner. Can't go between two defenders, and Munoz is back for Spain on halfway to recover the ball by the officials on the far right. He slowly turns, switches play. Quite slow in defence are Russia to come out to Martin, who turns away from Shalayev. Then a lovely drag back away from the number 8. Chance for a shot from distance. Doesn't take that opportunity. Then shoots, hits the defenders and goes out for a corner on the left. But, well, Spain, when they were pushed back to halfway, substitution for Russia in the meantime. Coming off is Shalayev, and number 9, Ivanov, will be coming onto the field. But when they were pushed back to halfway, there were no Russian players on the halfway line. If they're going to get back into this game, they're going to have to throw caution to the wind at some point and push players further downfield. So even if they have a corner against them, if they do get the ball, either their goalkeepers or defenders, they can then clear downfield knowing that there's a Russian body further down on the edge of their attacking D. And at the moment, they're not even putting pressure on Spain on the halfway line, let alone inside the final third. It's something that will need to be addressed to by the coaches and by the players as well. Back to the action, and it is with Martin from the corner, goes towards the centre, back down the left, drag back, and a poke shot. Good save by the goalkeeper. That came through a crowd of white shirts, and he must have seen it late, Ivanov. It's with Al Hadawi on the right. He can shoot, hits the face of one of the defenders, who's gone down and stays down. But a real dangerous moment, not only for the goalkeeper, but also for Tikhonov, the captain, and he gets to his feet. He's wandering around a bit, and Francois Kaku is managing to just keep hold of his shoulders at the moment. One of the top officials in the world, and at the moment he's just having to keep him upright, Francois Kaku, and he's just leading him over to the far side, and well, he's going to carry on. The Russian captain is made of stern stuff indeed. I'm going to keep half an eye on him for the next few minutes. He's got his hands on his knees. But once again, a great save by the keeper. And, well, that shot must have been heading towards the goal as well. So he would have been called into action. Sporting play by Russia, who play it downfield for a Spanish restart after that incident with Loktinov, who's walking very gingerly on the edge of his own D. Back to the action, and Al Hadawi inside his own half. Plays it down the left to try and find Martin. Martin controls in an instant and turns. He had Al Hadawi on the right. He has to go back to halfway to recover the ball. Time is still ticking. 6 minutes, 35 seconds gone in this second half. And Martin now, edge of the D, goes to ground. Nothing given by the referee. The ball's on the edge of the D. Chance again for Martin. Can't get a strike on the ball. Al Hadawi's now there, but Ivanov brings it out on the left for Russia. And Russia are going to get a free kick, pushing on the back by the captain, Al Hadawi. This is the replay on your, if you're watching the live stream, of that wonderful save. Came through the Russian defence very late. The goalkeeper must have seen that very late and stuck out a left hand and turned it around the post. Fabulous save. And at the moment, the goalkeeper's keeping his country in this. Spain lead by 1-0.
Tikhonov then comes forward from the free kick over the broken line towards the edge of the centre circle now, very tentatively, but the Spanish team are all inside their own half at the moment and waiting for the Russians to come towards them. Ball out towards the left-hand side. Ivanov tries to control it in orthodox fashion. Manages to get to the byline, wriggles his way into the penalty area and wins a corner as well for his efforts. It came last of Javier Munoz. There was a bit of a discussion going up there between Francois Corquet and Atala Balint as to who got the final touch on the ball, and they both agree it indeed was Munoz. So a corner on the left-hand side for Russia, who have offered very, very little in this second period so far. Ivanov stood behind Agorov. Everyone back in the penalty area for Spain. And Tikhonov is just lurking on the edge of the broken line at the moment as well, should anything come his way. Agorov, though, on the left-hand side will try and go it alone, gets into a central position, then checks back, and then momentarily stops as well, because El Adawi has got him completely sussed out. Agorov falls back into his own half to then try and regain momentum and start another charging run forward down the left-hand side. Keeps stopping the ball, mesmerising footwork from Agorov, but where can it take him? He'll get another corner, back to where he started then. Here's your answer. It's Lopez getting the touch in there. The big gangly legs of Ivan Lopez putting it out for another corner on the left-hand side for Russia. And if they just keep on having a bit of territorial pressure, then they may be able to get the sort of confidence required in order to really challenge Spain and get an equaliser. Corner on the left then. Tikhonov stood behind Ivanov. Agorov's made his way to the back post for this. And in fact, Tikhonov decides to stand in front of Ivanov now. And it will be Tikhonov on the left-hand side. Back heels it for Ivanov. Ivanov forced towards the far side. Manages to square it for Agorov towards the back post. Wasn't quite receptive to the rattle of the ball as it came towards him. It goes out of play in the end, harmlessly for Spain, for a goalkeeper's ball. Gutierrez bowls it to the left-hand side. Tension's beginning to grow here in Berlin. You can feel it in the crowd and on the benches as well, as Martin loses possession in a dangerous position. Agorov goes down under the recovery challenge from Martin, who gallops away with possession towards the right-hand side, inside the Russian half, cuts in on the left foot. Agorov is fit and ready to try and challenge Martin back. Those two collide and the ball comes out towards the near side, where Martin currently is forced up against the kick, but does really well to wriggle his way towards the left corner of the penalty area. Tries to go back on the inside. Ivanov is back there to help defend, but Martin going alone here, left-footed shot from the left side of the area. What a goal that would have been. Super footwork from the Spaniard, but well saved by Yakovlev, who bells it down the other side. Agorov trying to run at the Spanish backline. Munoz comes away with it, and like Pete said, head down, run towards the opposition. Down the right-hand side of the area, he goes for a swing at it on the right side of the D, but it goes harmlessly wide of Russia's right-hand post. There's a man down at the moment. It's Ivanov. He's face down on the turf, and he slowly gets back to his feet once again. He may be winded, Pete.
Yeah, it was colliding with the number 11 of Spain, Munoz, who was running back and accidentally collided with the Russian number 9. He goes to the side and he's going to just have a 30 seconds or so just to get his breath back. Once again, the referee is with him. Let's have a look at that incident. And yes, it was Munoz just collided there and caught him on the side of the stomach. So I think you might be completely right there, Jonathan. Just slightly winded, and does appear that way. Might have caught him on the mouth as well, which is a very common injury in blind football. Now with 8 minutes and 31 seconds gone in this second half, Spain lead by 1-0 in this final of the IBSA Blind Football European Championships here in the heart of Berlin. Long throw down the left, finds Ivanov, who does very well, goes down on one knee to control. Now he's running at Spanish defence into the centre and towards the edge of the D. Can't get a shot off because Lopez comes across, does very well, not only tackles him, but then brings it out down the left kickboard. And nicely turns Ivanov, goes towards the halfway line, stops in the centre, now goes down the left, pokes it towards goal from distance, but the goalkeeper can easily just walk over his goal line and pick the ball up. Throws it downfield, actually hits Lopez in the face, and that runs towards the goalkeeper, Gutierrez. So inadvertently, good defending by Lopez. Turn it back to his own goalkeeper, who then rolls it down the left, but the referee is just going to check the headgear of Lopez, because obviously that's come off because the ball hit him in the face from the throw out by the Russian keeper. So Lopez is the centre of attention for the last minute or so with that defending, a mazy run, and then heading the ball back to his keeper. He's got a big mask on as Lopez. All sorts of protective wear there. He's got his eye patch actually underneath that. He's got extra protection the Spanish players have.
And sportingly, once again, even though we are deep into the second half of this final, Russian players still aren't passing the ball back. There's the incident. Yeah, knocked his eyewear off his face, but again turned it back to his own goalkeeper. Ball downfield by Gutierrez into the heart of the Russian defence, picked up by Ivanov, who's going to run straight forward. It might be direct play now by Russia over the halfway line, straight down the centre to the broken line, but there's 4 Spanish players back, including the first man, which is Lopez. Lopez pushes him out to the wide left by the kickboard, so Ivanov's having to go back to the halfway line. He's still got the ball, the Russian number 9. Now he switches play to Igorov on the right. Igorov controls well, drifts inside to a more central position, edge of the D on the right now, shoots and scores! It goes straight through the goalkeeper, and Igorov gets Russia right back into this final. It's a 1 goal each, and Igorov straight through the legs from the right-hand side. It's 1-1 here in Berlin.
Well, quiet all game, Denis Igorov, but he's been saving his best until that exact moment there. Goal number 8 of the tournament for the Super Russian number 7. He got to the right side of the area, and maybe a bit fortuitous with the fact that the ball squirmed through the legs of Pedro Gutierrez and into the far corner of the net, but absolutely nothing. Russia have got themselves on level terms here. They gain parity, 1-1, all to play for in this final.
Yes, I think Gutierrez might want to not see that one back again. Straight through him on the near post. He never moved even after it went past him. And, well, we have a game on here. It's 1-1 with exactly 10 minutes to go in this final. It will go to penalties if it is a draw at the end of 40 minutes. Igorov battling with Martin on the Russian right. It's back inside the final third for Spain. Lopez turns away from Igorov well, stops on the edge of his D, plays it down the left towards Martin. Of course, now Spain chasing the game once again. Martin being led a merry dance just inside his own half by Igorov, who's got the bit between his teeth, goes up to halfway. Now he's into the final third, into the D, mazy dribble wide of the left-hand post. Igorov, this is the Igorov of what we witnessed in the group stages before he got injured, and we questioned him in his final game, the game previous to this, the semi-final, because he wasn't fully fit. They threw him on out of desperation, did Russia, but he's back to full fitness now, and he's back to his goal-scoring best.
Well, cometh the hour, cometh the giant. Adolfo Acosta returns to the fray. And, well, there is a lot lying on his shoulders at the moment, Acosta, because, of course, he did score in the first period, but he missed the penalty right at the end of the first half. And this place absolutely stunned at the moment. That goal coming out of absolutely nothing. The ball played out to the right-hand side and Acosta the substitute. Great tackle from Tikhonov, and suddenly Russia have injected something into this game and go down the left-hand side. Acosta's in his back, forced out to the backboard on the far side. A switch ball attempted by Tikhonov towards the near side. Lopez got a foot on it, but it doesn't stop it from going in its tracks to Igorov on the right channel, trying to wriggle his way across the broken line laterally from right to left, gets into a more central position, but carries on his run towards that left-hand side. Lopez not giving that one up at all, but Igorov still there, sniffing around the ball. Here comes Aladawi down the left-hand side. He got a nick off a Russian shirt, did it? Yes, it did. It's going to be a corner on the near side. The Spanish left, but here's a replay of that goal from Denis Igorov. And Munoz, who is so solid in the anchor of that Spanish diamond there, was just trying to jockey with Igorov, force him out wide, but he couldn't block the shot as it came in low from Igorov, zipped through the surface and through the legs of Pedro Gutierrez. All square, and we have 8.5 minutes to go. The captain has been sacrificed now with Jose Guerra coming on in his place. Spain have a corner on the near side, the left. There are 4 white shirts for Russia back defending this. Guerra's took his position at the back post and waiting for anything to drop his way. Acosta starts his arced run towards the broken line, then will go back towards the goal as he gets into a central position, but Igorov right in his back at the moment. Acosta just trying to ride the strength of Igorov by going back out to the left-hand side, but well marshalled by the Russian goalscorer at the moment. Along the near side kickboard, the ball prodded back by Acosta to Munoz in a deep position, tries to switch it to the right-hand side, and Guerra. Ivanov just missed out first time around, but he's not to be beaten the second. Guerra still has possession. but he's struggling to turn away from the Russian number 9. Guerra comes inside, then back on the outside, goes for a shot. Very tame effort indeed from Jose Guerra, and it will be a Russian ball at the back with Anton Yakovlev.
Yakovlev, who made that really good save at the start of the second half, throws down, but it only finds the feet of Guerra. Over halfway he goes, down the right, past the broken line, edge of the D. Guerra still going, scuffed into the hands of Ivanov, who throws quickly down the right to that man, Igorov, who scored his 8th goal of the tournament, and he's been pushed over by Alfredo Acosta. And that's going to be another Spanish foul, and they're totting up in this second half, and also fouls against Acosta as well. So free kick to Russia on halfway. And they're right back into this. They've got a real spring in their step, and that's the 4th personal foul by Adolfo Acosta. So any more fouls that he gives away, then he will have to leave the field of play. He can be substituted, but he won't be able to continue in this match. It's the 3rd team foul as well for Spain. So Russia with none and Spain with 3. Remember, they're allowed 5. Tikhonov takes the free kick, and he's been given against Russia. It's going to be given to Spain. The coach behind the Spanish goal, the Russian coach, was given directions and indications for the free kick. It was on halfway, you can't do that. And the referee, Francois Carcouf, France, comes over and has a word with him. This is one of the top officials. We've got the best officials in the world here, and Francois Carcouf officialed in the final of the Paralympic Games. He heard the call, and he's actually been quite vocal, the coach behind the net, and he's had enough and gives the free kick to Spain. And Acosta on the right, still on the field. Remember, those 4 fouls against him, so he can't afford any more, and he was very risky there in putting his arm around the Russian number 3, Tikhonov. He squares over to the right, tries to find Guerra. Well, Guerra gets back, and he's battling with Igorov. Munoz just clears downfield. The chase is on between Alfredo Acosta and also Ivanov. There could be a collision here. It's down by the right corner for Spain. Getting goal side is the Russian defence. He goes to ground. The Tikhonov, the captain, nothing given. But again, interesting, he went down there. Long throw downfield by the Russian keeper, goes straight through and out for a restart for Spain.
Gutierrez bowls it down the left-hand side for Guerra. Tikhonov comes across, but Guerra turns him on the left side of the area. Good chance here. Loktinov comes across and manages to sweep up possession by charging over the broken line and darting down the inside right channel. Loktinov is not giving the ball up yet. Munoz comes out on top, though, as he strides towards the right-hand side. Munoz stopped in his tracks by Tikhonov. Tikhonov still going, but a good bit of skill from Munoz to get past him down the right side of the area. Munoz goes down under a trick from Tikhonov. The referee says no free kick, and it will be a Russian ball. Yakovlev bowling it over arm towards the halfway line. Cannons off the kickboard via Guerra, almost into the path of Egorov in the inside right position. Lopez, who's covered every blade of grass here on the pitch tonight, goes across to the far side to Hassel and Harry Ivanov, forces him inside his own half. Ivanov took a swing at the ball, completely missed it. He'll get another second chance, but he's been forced here towards his own byline. Lopez still really close for comfort as far as Ivanov is concerned, but it's a good ball back to the goalkeeper from him. He finds Anton Yakovlev and safety as a result. The ball is played down the right-hand side. It's completely missed by Denis Egorov, and Spain start things from the back with their goalkeeper Gutierrez. Rolled out to the right, and Acosta coming towards the halfway line, right in the centre circle. Skips past Tikhonov, still going Acosta. Slightly got the ball caught on his feet, but he has possession. Edge of the area, Loktinov with a very important challenge. He was the last man back for Russia, and that right foot may have denied Acosta from a brace, and possibly Spain winning this European Championships. Egorov down the right-hand side, surrounded by red shirts, worms his way into the area. Good foot in from Munoz, forces the ball out towards the near side. Egorov still not giving this one up, but his ball towards the far side is poor, and back into his own half as well. And Guerra manages to get on the end of it. Ivanov's touch is the last one before it goes out, so it will be a Spain corner on the right-hand side, and a substitution to come from Russia as well. And it's that same old change once again, a bit like Groundhog Day this, because off goes Evgeny Ivanov, replaced by Evgeny Shalayev.
Yeah, Shalayev on. It's just a substitution that you want, really, if you're a Russian fan. All action Shalayev injecting a bit of pace and a bit of all action, no nonsense play. As a timeout's been called at a perfect moment, 5 minutes before the end of the match, 1-1 here. But we mentioned Shalayev, all action and plenty of pace, shots from distance, getting tackles in. Russia, they've not committed a team foul so far, so they can afford to give away a few fouls if they like, especially if they're in the opposition half. But at the moment, it's 1-1, 5 minutes to go, fantastically poised. Spain, just to reiterate, they've got 3 team fouls against them. That might be coming into play. But at the moment, it's Russia who are looking stronger. And mentioning to a number of the, we're talking to a number of coaches actually early on today, and especially the England contingency, and they were saying, of course, it's 6 games in a matter of 7 days for some teams, and that's quite a lot. So there'll be a lot of tired legs out there, and I think the fitness of the Russian side is just starting to play dividends. And well, at the moment, after that goal, which again, Gutierrez will not really want to see that again, beaten at his near post, which no goalkeeper likes, especially straight through his legs, and also from a distance as well. It's not like he was on the edge of his 2-metre square when the shot was taken. But the minute of timeout has now ended, and it's going to start with a Spanish corner. The referee is just making sure.
Penny for the thoughts of Miguel Becerra at the moment as well, Pete. He's currently situated on the front row of the stand on the far side as we look from our commentary position behind the Spanish bench, and he doesn't seem to have been as vocal in the second period as he was in the first.
Well, whether he's been told he can't, he was standing, what, 6 feet above the Spanish bench, basically, having a better view than those actually standing on the sideline. But no, he's up there in the stand. He was sent to the stand in the semi-final. Corner taken by Spain, and coming to this near side is Acosta. Now he starts a slalom run over to the right. That distinctive white headband worn by Acosta. Less than 5 minutes remain of the final of the IBSA Blind Football European Championships 2017. And it's 1 goal each between Russia and Spain. Acosta from an angle goes wide of the near post. And well, it can't be any tighter. And the crowd here absolutely engrossed in this final. And we've witnessed 2 fantastic semi-finals after tremendous group stage matches. And it's the final that we all hoped. We wanted it to be tight, we wanted it to be entertaining, and we wanted it to be what we've got in front of us. It's Munoz down the right to Acosta. He can't pick the ball up and noticeably doesn't chase it down. Now, is that to protect the one goal, the draw that they've currently got, or is it because he's too tired?
Well, both teams got through to this final on penalties, and maybe they're chancing their arm and saying, look, if it goes to penalties, we'll be more confident than you are. As Shalayev has his back to goal at the moment on the near side, midway inside Spanish territory. Flicks the ball towards the far side, and Agorov, who gives chase near the byline. Who got the last touch? The answer is Adolfo Acosta. And it'll be a corner for Russia on their left-hand side as the time trickles down, and we have 4 minutes to go before the end of this game, and possibly penalties. Agorov goes across. He will stand in front of Shalayev, and it will be Agorov to roll this in front of him to Shalayev. Tikhonov stood on the edge of the centre circle. Shalayev cutting in from the left-hand side. Good footwork, but he's been very much closed down by Jose Guerra, who's done a very good job since coming on as a substitute. Hasn't featured much so far in these championships for Spain, but he's definitely stuck to task since coming onto the field. He tries to dribble over the halfway line, but Tikhonov, his opposite number, wins possession and comes down the right-hand side. Almost fell under the challenge of Guerra, but carries on as he goes in towards the attacking third now. Still Tikhonov. He's got Lopez in his back. Tikhonov still wanting to march on towards the edge of the penalty area. Lopez coming out on top. Guerra wants to help his teammate out as well, but Tikhonov so determined, not giving it up. What a tournament he's had. What a run this is. Goes down on the edge of the broken line. The referee says no foul, and it will go out for a Spanish ball at the back, and Gutierrez will bowl it out to his right, and Acosta near the kickboard towards the halfway line. Tikhonov comes across. He easily gets past him, but again Acosta gets the ball caught up in his feet. He's going too fast for the pace of the ball at the moment. Now Egorov's in his back, bustling with him towards the far side near the gate and halfway. That gate will be open very soon to allow Martin on the pitch. Another substitution in the offing in a few moments' time for Spain, who are in trouble momentarily here as Agorov gets onto a loose ball near the kickboard. Munoz in his back. Agorov tries to turn away from him, but very much easier said than done. That's certainly been evident in this game so far. Shalayev coming down the right-hand side, goes down initially, gets back up again, goes into the attacking zone, gets towards the byline now. Who got the last touch? It was Ivan Lopez. It'll be a corner for Spain on the near side, the right. We are into the final 3 minutes, and it will be a change with Jose Guerra leaving the field and Antonio Martin coming on to it. At the moment, Andrei Tikhonov is just on his knees on the edge of his own centre circle. It's been such a demanding schedule for all of these players coming in towards this tournament, and it's all come down to the final few minutes. Russia with the corner on the near side, the right. Shalayev stood over the ball with Tikhonov, and the clock indeed ticks down, possibly in favour of Russia, possibly in favour of Spain. This is going to go right down to the wire. It's flipped into the penalty area towards the 8-metre penalty spot. It's a poor corner from Russia, and Munoz managed to be receptive to it, came away with it, fouled on the edge of the centre circle by Agorov, and it'll be a first-team foul of the second half from Russia, and a free kick for Spain on the left of their own centre circle. And Munoz stood with Acosta. So the Russian bench conceding their first team foul of the second half, very much looking on in anger. Costa tries to come forward towards the halfway line. Tikhonov got the last touch, but it's going towards his own penalty area. Locked him off. The last man back as ever for Russia. Diverts it towards the far side. The Russian left. Martin battling away with Agorov near the broken line. The ball momentarily stationary. Right up against the foot of that kickboard in front of the Russian bench. Martin, he's got Agorov on his back. Tries to come inside of him. Then back on the outside again. Good tackle from Denis Agorov, though, who is actually indicated to the bench on the far side he wants to come off. And Denis Agorov, who has equalised for Russia in this game, may be soon coming off. He was tapping towards his ankle. Of course, it was that area of his leg that caused him to miss the start of the semi-final against France. It's a free kick for Spain on the edge of the centre circle. Pedro Gutierrez is not happy at all. Managing to keep quiet, though, in the stands is their regular coach, Miguel Becerra. And it's a 14th foul of the game against Spain. And I think the argument here is that Tikhonov just fell on the ball on the edge of the centre circle. So it's a 14th foul of the game, and it's a 15th foul from... So it's a 5th foul against Acosta, and his game is up. So Adolfo Acosta, the man who got Spain off to a perfect start in this game, leaves the field after 5 personal fouls, and he will not return. So replacing him will be the captain, Yusuf El Hadawi, who's just having his headwear checked. Of course, it's a nice change to make if you're Spain, to be able to bring on your captain for Acosta, but a disappointing end to his championships after playing so well throughout the duration of the last week and a half. A change being made as well by Russia, and as we suspected, Denis Agorov, his championships are over. His right foot has come back to haunt him once again, and he's been replaced now by Evgeny Ivanov, who will close out the last 2 minutes for Russia. Ball out to the left-hand side and Ivanov. Munoz got there first, but it rolls through for Ivanov near the byline. The referee gives a goal kick. And there is Acosta, who will not be able to contribute to the penalties. Martin on the halfway line, left-hand side, gallops past Tikhonov. There are still 3 Russians back as Martin tries to glide through all of them towards the right side of the area. Almost fell for El Hadawi. Ivanov goes across to be able to momentarily win possession, but there are 2 Spaniards on 1 Russian at the moment. And coming into the area now is Martin, right-hand side of it, left-footed shot towards goal. Wasn't hit with too much purchase and easily gathered by Yakovlev. Almost coming towards the final 60 seconds. Shevelev down the right-hand side, scurries towards the byline. It goes too far, though, and it will be out for a Spanish ball, and the Spain going to try and get a winner in this game right at the death. Munoz, right-hand side. near the broken line, just clips it down the channel. May have took a deflection there off Tikhonov. If it did, it'll go out for a corner, but the referee disagrees, and it will be a Russian ball. Yakovlev balls it down the left-hand side. Pes Aladawi, not controlled either by Ivanov, and a bit of a rally going off here between the two goalkeepers at the worst possible time, especially if you're trying to keep possession and go on for a winner. Ball forward by Gutierrez, testing ball, well met by Aladawi, getting towards the area. Aladawi just fluffed his lines at the last there, and it will go out for a goalkeeper's ball for Russia. And was that the chance for Spain there to get their hands on the European Championship trophy? Such a good opportunity for the captain, who's just come on as a substitute, Yusuf Al-Hadawi, and what an impact that would have been as this game goes right down to the wire. Al-Hadawi, right-hand side, bursts over the halfway line, past Ivanov. Tikhonov comes across as well. Well controlled by Al-Hadawi. He's on his own at the moment inside the Russian half. Comes inside on the left foot, then checks back onto the right. Good shot, just wide of the right-hand post. And what a finish to the game that would have been. Yusuf Al-Hadawi with two opportunities inside the space of 30 seconds, both of which could have clinched the title for Spain. Double substitution being made, and Agorov is back onto the field, and this is purely due to the fact that the Russian manager, Alexander Erestov, is confident this game is going to penalties. Agorov is not fit to play the match, but he is deemed fit enough to take penalty kicks. Shalayev sacrificed. Agorov, right-hand side, just coming in from the kickboard into the final 10 seconds of this game. Martin bursts over the halfway line, then checks back in field. He's going to try and do it alone here, Martin, towards the left corner of the box, shoots left-footed, it's blocked by Loktinov, and that should be that. The referee in the officials' tent on the far side blows his whistle, as does Francois Coquet, and we are going to penalties yet again this week at the IBSA Blind Football European Championship 2017 in Berlin, but nothing has had quite as much riding on it as this. The European Championship title will be decided from the 6-metre penalty spot, and you have to say at the moment that the Russians looking very tired indeed compared to Spain. A couple of Russia players are just laid with their backs against the kickboard on the far side near the Russian bench. Tikhonov as well was down on his knees when the full-time whistle was blown. As for the Spaniards, they're all upright, they're all taking on fluids, and they're all ready for these penalties to be taken. Russia have given their all in this game with more or less 4.5 men, with Denis Agorov really struggling through that second half with the ankle injury that he got in the game in the final Group D match of these championships. I'm joined now in the commentary position by Alan March. We are going all the way, and it could not be much closer.
And we'll come back to Jonathan Bell in just a couple of moments. Don't forget, please do stick around after this game on your screens, no matter where you're watching it, whether it be a mobile device, a TV, maybe you're sat at work and should be working, but you're watching this because it's gripping, quite rightly so. All the teams are here. We have got a closing ceremony at the end of this game, so it'd be great if you did stick around and watch that. But fantastic, fantastic action. Let's hand back over to Jonathan, who's going to talk you through the highlights of that second half.
Thank you very much, Alan. Mayweather v McGregor is tonight, but the fight for this European Championship title is certainly a showstopper at the moment. A wonderful strike from Denis Agorov, getting this game back on level terms, which means we are going to penalties. Pedro Gutierrez guilty there of letting the ball slip through his legs, but the strike from Agorov zipped off the surface and through the Spanish stopper's legs, found the back corner, and it means that we are going all the way in the 10th ever IBSA Blind Football European Championships. The coin toss is about to occur in the centre circle. You have to say Spain had the better of the opportunities throughout the 40 minutes, but Russia, who have employed some very strong defensive tactics throughout the duration of this competition, have managed to come up trumps once again and keep Spain at bay to just the one goal. Yusuf Al-Hadawi on the left of your screen with a white headband, captain for Spain, taking part in the toss at the moment with Alexei Loktinov, and it's difficult to say at the moment whether or not these two sides are better or worse off at the moment for the two penalty shootouts that they had earlier on in the week in the semi-finals. Of course, Spain were gifted a gift by England in their semi-final to be taken to penalty kicks. They won that time around by 2-1. As for Russia, it went right down to the end for them. They actually went round to take the penalties 3 times each. Will it be so prolonged tonight? It will certainly be just as tense. In Spain v Russia, it's the penalty shootout in the IBSA Blind Football European Championship Final 2017. The officials on the far side just talking near the technical tent to make sure all is present and correct. The Russian team just making their way to the halfway line now. Silence called in the stadium, as it will be Antonio Martin to take the first kick. He missed a penalty against Anton Yakovlev in the 20th minute of the game in Group B earlier on in this championships against Russia. It finished 0-0 that time. Can Antonio Martin hit the back of the net second time round against Yakovlev? The guy behind the goal getting the call from Martin to tap the post. Jose Caratala, who has been behind the opposing net all the way through these championships for Spain. There will not have been a more nerve-wracking tap of the post than this so far. Martin, right-footed against Yakovlev. He does score this time around. Spain take the lead in the penalty shootout. Carvers personified, Antonio Martin there, striking it with the right foot into the left corner of Pedro Gutierrez's net. And the pressure now is on to the Russian captain, Alexei Loktionov, who scored the controversial winning penalty against France in the semi-finals, after Julian Royo was adjudged to have been off his line first time around. So Pedro Gutierrez will certainly be making sure here that he keeps 2 feet firmly rooted to the line when this kick is taken. In that semi-final, Loktionov ended up having 5 penalty attempts due to 3 taking place during the match, and then 2 afterwards as well. Loktionov with the right foot. Saved by Pedro Gutierrez, and Spain hold the advantage after round 1 of penalty kicks. And Alexei Loktionov walking back to the halfway line, guided by reserve goalkeeper Kirill Pechinin in a heap of despair. And now it's time for opposite captain Youssef Al-Adawi to extend Spain's lead in this penalty shootout. Could cut the tension here in Berlin with a knife. Yakovlev looking up to the heavens, the Russian goalkeeper, before being tasked to save this one. It is one, you have to say, if Al-Adawi gets on target, that he must save. Jose Caratala tapping either side of the post. It's Al-Adawi from 6 metres. It is saved by Yakovlev. Just the perfect response that Russia required after that miss from Loktionov. So both captains have failed from 6 metres out. And it means that Russia have the opportunity now to equalise things after 2 penalty kicks. It's Denis Agorov to take, who somehow managed to recover from a very nasty-looking foot injury in order to be here in the final and to start it. He was taken off as a precaution towards the back end of the game, but then brought on 20 seconds from time in order to take a spot kick. Will it have been worth its weight in gold, that decision? Alexander Arastov will be watching on from the sideline, the Russian coach, and certainly hoping it is the case. Agorov to equalise in the penalty shootout. He does as well. Past Pedro Gutierrez to his left-hand side. And we are back at even Stevens after 2 penalties each. And we indeed could be going all the way here. Next up, Jose Guerra, without a goal to his name so far in these championships. The only player so far to step up to the spot that is the case for. He started in Spain's first match against Georgia, but has not featured too much since. This will no doubt be the biggest kick he has had, not just in this tournament, but maybe in his international career. So much pressure on Jose Guerra. Can he make it 2-1 to Spain? The answer is yes. An emphatic response by Jose Guerra, who put Spain on match point in this game. The Spanish penalty takers have done all they can do for now. Ivanov next up. If he misses, Spain win yet another European Championships.
Yes.
And Russia will be condemned
Yes.
to a second straight silver medal. Evgeny Ivanov, right-footed, it's into the back of the net, and Gutierrez had the ball slip through his hands and did the trophy slip through with it as well. New hope for Russia, who balanced things up at 2 apiece. Now it's time for Sergi Manzos. The big number 5 for Spain. Faced up by Anton Yakovlev, who squats down a little bit, does the Russian keeper. As this game goes to sudden death, can Spain put a nail in Russia's coffin? The answer is quite possibly yes. Sergi Manzos manages to find the target. It flies past Anton Yakovlev to his right-hand side. And once again, the baton is passed over to Russia as they try and answer the question posed to them quite emphatically by Spain. Evgeny Shalayev, who was featured predominantly for Russia in these championships from the substitutes bench, now comes to the fore for Alexander Arastov's men to keep Russia in the tie. And with a chance of winning the title, he manages to find the back of the net. And once again, Pedro Gutierrez rooted to the spot. The Spanish stopper, who was their saviour in the semi-final against England, must certainly feel as though he could be dealing a lot better with these kicks so far from Russia. Great power conjured up there by Evgeny Shalayev. Hardly any backlift, and it flew past Gutierrez. Up next, the man mounted Ivan Lopez. Maybe didn't expect to be taking a penalty in this final. But if he misses this penalty and Russia score, then it'll be those in Moscow celebrating tonight. Lopez, right-footed, saved by Yakovlev. And for the first time, Russia have match point, and the man who is just 6 meters away from clinching Russia their first ever European Championships is Andrei Tikhonov. His guide just giving him a bit of a pep talk before he goes and steps up to take this. Vitaly Budikin has said his last piece, goes behind the goal and decides he does decide to make some noise on the posts. Tikhonov opting for the din of the woodwork to sound before he strikes this. Andrei Tikhonov to win the European Championships for Russia. He has done it, and Russia are the 10th champions of the IBSA Blind Football European Championships. Tears for Spain, who came so close to winning yet another major European title. But it is the Russians who have made the long trek from Moscow to Berlin that will be singing loud and proud tonight. They jump up and down in a jubilant circle right next to the halfway line. Russia, who were right up against it for most parts of this match. They were so close, of course, to winning this title in 2015. They were edged out to get to the 2016 Paralympics in Rio by the flip of a coin, and Spain went instead of them. But now they can have the last laugh. They win on penalties after a 1-1 draw in normal time. Russia are the champions of the IBSA Blind Football European Championships. And for Andrei Tikhonov to get the crucial strike, it certainly is fitting. He's had a wonderful tournament for the men in white. So much pressure on young shoulders to step up from 6 meters out. He got the pep talk from guide Vitaly Budikin before he stepped up to take it. Goodness knows what he said, but it certainly worked wonders. Andrei Tikhonov will go down in Russian blind football folklore. So cool with the right foot. Pedro Gutierrez, as hard as he might try, could not get a sniff of it. It just flew past him into his bottom left corner, and Andrei Tikhonov and Russia are champions here in Berlin. They managed to progress top of the group of death, and they managed to top the championships as a whole in the end. And we can now hear from the pitch with Pete Selby, who is with Denis Agorov.
Denis Agorov, 8 goals in these finals, and what a tough final it was against Spain. European champions.
Это фантастическая игра, фантастические ощущения.
It's a fantastic game and I have fantastic feelings.
Испания — это грант европейского футбола.
Spain is one of the most strong European teams.
С ними очень приятно бороться, и хотелось бы отдать должное сопернику.
We want to thank them so much. It's always great games with them.
Хотелось бы сказать спасибо всем, кто был на стадионе, всем, кто нас поддерживал и кто поддерживал соперников, всем болельщикам.
We also want to thank all the spectators who supported us all this time, and all the audience, all the spectators here. Thank you very much.
Obviously disappointing 2 years ago to lose in the final. Did you use that to get through these very difficult last 2 games?
Мы очень рады были взять реванш, и
We are very happy to have a revenge for those 2 years ago.
сложно подбирать слова. Хочется поблагодарить всех ребят, всю сборную.
It's very difficult to find words right now. I want just to thank all the guys, all our team.
У нас день рождения у нашего физио.
Our physio has his birthday today.
Поздравляем его с днем рождения.
So congratulations to him too. Congratulations.
Congratulations to you, Denis. Congratulations to Russia, European champions 2017.
Thank you.
And of course, the Russian physio Konstantin Tarkov will not only be receiving a happy birthday from Denis Agorov, but a big thank you as well, because it looks so doubtful that Agorov would be able to continue after the group stage, after the very nasty injury he suffered right at the death as well of the final Group B game. He came on as a substitute, should I say, in the semi-final. He started tonight. He looked a shadow of his former self, but still managed to grab the equaliser that dragged Russia and Spain to the penalty shootout, which Russia then went and won by 5 goals to 4. Unbelievable.
Thank you very much, Jonathan Bell. Once again, he'll be back on in very short while. Once again, just to reiterate, we do have the closing ceremony and, of course, the trophy presentation. It's runners-up for Spain, but they get to host a World Cup next year. So make sure, if you're a fan of blind football, June the 7th in Madrid, that's in your diary already. But it is the team from Russia who will celebrate winning these European Championships. Let's go back over to Jonathan Bell.
Thank you very much, Alan. Such a tight game over the course of the 40 minutes, and if anything, particularly if you read any stats apart from the goals, you would think it would be Spain that would be the ones taking this crown. They peppered the Russian goal through a vast majority of the first and the beginning of the second period as well, but after Denis Zagorov scored 10 minutes from time, the pendulum really did begin to neutralise then, and that played into Russia's hands. They are a predominantly defensive outlet who rely on Denis Zagorov in the final third to reap their rewards in front of goal, and boy didn't he do that. As for Spain, as hard as they may have tried in front of the Russian goal, they just couldn't break it down for a second time, and goodness knows what Adolfo Acosta is thinking right now. Of course, he hit the post just before he scored. After he hit the back of the net, he had an opportunity just before half-time to score from 8 metres out. That completely went off target, and he was about to be substituted before he took it as well. So there they have it, the 4th penalty shootout of the week. And for the second time this week, it goes in the way of Russia. Of course, both Spain and Russia qualifying for this final on penalty kicks against England and France respectively, but Spain's luck eventually ran out as Russia came out by 4-3. Conveniently as well, the exact same scoreline that they managed to overcome France by. So as Alan said, we very much would appreciate you to stay alongside us and witness this closing ceremony of what has been a groundbreaking tournament in these IBSA Blind Football European Championships, by far and away the biggest European Championships we have ever had. And I have to say, personally, it's been a massive pleasure to be a part of the team, to be able to bring you in total 27 matches over the course of the last week and a half. And we hope that you have enjoyed it at home or wherever you are across the world just as much as we have here in Berlin. Of course, the World Cup comes up next year in June in Madrid. Spain would have loved to have gone into that tournament not just as hosts but as outright winners of Europe as well. That will not be the case. That title will be held by Russia. Both teams will be there representing Europe next year in Madrid. Joining them will be Turkey, England and France as well. And the reason Turkey will be there is because that game on Friday night between Germany and Turkey that ended in a goalless draw went down to penalties. Turkey won by 2-1 and they secured 5th, and they were the 4th best team that weren't next year's host Spain, and will be there on merit just ahead of the Germans. And a word about Germany, of course, their team may have flattered to deceive on occasion. They were disappointed that they could not progress to the semi-finals of the competition, but by goodness me, they have been fantastic hosts here in Berlin and have really put on a fantastic show, which will hopefully be suitably rounded off here in this closing ceremony. A good embrace going off at the moment between guide Vitaly Budikin of Russia and his goalkeeper Anton Yakovlev. Of course, those two usually stand at opposite ends of the field, but right now they're coming very close together indeed and sharing a moment, and it's a moment that they will not forget for the rest of their lives. Of course, Russia suffered the heartbreak 2 years ago against Turkey in Hereford of losing by 1-0 after Kurpatoglu's strike meant that the Turks would be crowned champions for their first time. Russia have had a painful wait over the course of the last 2 years to be able to come back with an opportunity for themselves to put that final of 2 years ago right again today. And they started off in the championships with an opportunity to do just that. They beat Turkey in a repeat of the 2015 final by 2-1. They managed to get a 0-0 draw against Spain, a very hard-fought 0-0 draw, and progressed from the group of death in Group B, top of the standings. They rode their luck at times in the penalty shootout against France, but we're here on merit and came out on top once again on penalties, and both sets of players just going to the centre of the field at the moment. Spain to the left of halfway, Russia to the right, and of course England as well coming back onto the field after securing third place earlier on today with their 2-0 victory against France. France, for the record, are also in attendance in the stands and will no doubt be applauding the bronze medal winners, the silver medal winners, and of course our gold medal winners, Russia. Our officials as well, who have been fantastic over the course of the last week and a half, made their way onto the field from the tunnel away to my left-hand side. And a catalogue of outstanding blind footballers and blind football officials as well are on the field of play after the best tournament ever in the history of blind football. The French team also coming out onto the field as well, of course finishing fourth in these championships. They themselves will perhaps feel fortuitous to have been able to progress to the semi-finals after they were really up against it on the final day of Group A. They needed Germany to lose against England. England did them a favour and disposed of the host nation by 3-0, which meant that France progressed to the semi-finals and of course in the process managed to qualify for next year's World Cup as well. They lost out on penalties to the eventual winners, Russia, and they are currently shaking hands at the moment. Of course, all smiles between those two very proud European nations. The Turks are on the field as well. The fifth of the teams present here on the pitch that will be back in Madrid next year for the World Championships. Turkey unable to defend their European crown, but goodness me, they had a very tough group to progress from. It went down right to the wire between them and Spain as to who would get to the semi-finals of these championships. A 1-1 draw meant that Spain would go through by a point and Turkey would be out by a point. Bit of traffic at the moment as all the teams are trying to shake hands with each other. The Germans are there, of course, great hopes for this competition, finishing sixth just behind Turkey and agonisingly missing out on penalties of a spot at the World Championships. Georgia on your screen now, they finished 10th, they qualified in Romania in April, and you can see a black eye actually on the man second in from the left, Margalashvili. Georgia certainly went through some tumultuous times on the pitch. Lots of collisions with the opponents, lots of fouls conceded as well, and that was purely because they were wearing their hearts on their sleeves, coming out here every game, giving as good as they've got, and were determined to make sure they were not daunted by anyone that would put up against them. A word on the Romanians as well, just the blue tracksuits that you can see furthest back on your screen at the moment. They have put on a really good performance in their first ever major international competition, finishing 9th, just ahead of Georgia in a 3-1 success yesterday. A repeat of the qualification final in April in Romania, which Romania did win by 1-0, and hopefully we'll see more of Romania and Georgia in the future at these major international tournaments as their respective blind football programmes grow and grow. Positive news for Sorin Lapădatu, the Romanian coach who's driven the coach over the course of the last few weeks for the team. He's been the physio, he's provided them food, he's done absolutely everything, Sorin Lapădatu, and he says that the Romanian Football Federation are working in closer and closer partnership with the blind football team now in order to make sure that the blind football programme in Romania gets the funding that it deserves. And he also says, the Romanian coach, that they are very close to actually securing funding from the Romanian Football Federation to actually have their own training facility. At the moment, they train on the same pitch in Bucharest with the 11-a-side national team, and that might just be an example of Romania's hopes for the future, but it certainly is a hope for a lot of these teams, not just on the pitch now, but across Europe as well. There are teams like Greece and Hungary and Italy and Poland that may have failed to qualify for these championships, but no doubt they are still continuing to develop their respective blind football programs to be able to allow those who may not have previously been able to have access to football the opportunity to play blind football and to enjoy themselves on a football pitch just like any other person would be allowed to. So the Germans at the moment shaking hands with the runners-up Spain. Of course, Germany know exactly how it feels to lose on penalties, something that we may not be too common with saying, but they lost, of course, in that World Cup qualifying playoff against Turkey just 24 hours ago. But of course, a lot of heartache, a lot of celebration suffered and enjoyed between these teams over the course of the last 10 days, but they're all shaking hands now, and we'll be hoping to come across each other in the future as well. Of course, there is the World Championships next year. The only 5 of these teams will get to, but all of them will be hoping to be back at the European Championships in 2019, wherever that may be. And of course, in the blind football calendar as a whole, there is still the African Championships on the horizon later this year. There is the South American Championships also not too far away, and the North and Central America Regional Championships will also be arising in the not too distant future. But you have to say, all of those continental tournaments will certainly have some challenge in order to surpass the standard of these European Games. They have been fascinating, enthralling, captivating, and sometimes able to make you wince, because some of the collisions between players have been quite incredible. And one thing that I would personally take away from these championships is the fact that you may come beforehand watching blind football thinking that it'd be players who are unable to play football at a level that you may be used to, especially on a 5-a-side pitch that I know a lot of people do on midweek games after work. Everyone loves a game on 5-a-side. But the thing about these championships that makes it different is, despite the fact that these players have no idea what is in front of them, and they are relying on shouts of a language that may not even be their mother tongue, they are relying on the trust levels that they owe to those behind the goals and either side of the field. They are relying on their goalkeeper. They are relying on the jingle inside a ball, yet they give their all. They wear their hearts on their sleeves, and they have given 100%, each and every one of them, over the course of the last 10 days, and they have done each of their respective nations very proud indeed. There's been no messing about, head down, going into every single tackle, throwing themselves for every single ball that may be dangling around in front of a net to try and put it away, just for them, just for their team, just for their nation. Of course, this has been a tournament that has rewritten some history books as well. We have had our first ever female player in Cornelius of Belgium, and also Julia Kaup, the official, who was actually in between the dugouts tonight as 4th official. She was the first ever female referee to be on a pitch and officiate in a major blind football championship. So of course, for those particularly from Berlin who have come out and have organised this event, and who have come to watch the action in front of them unfold over the course of the last week and a half. They may be upset that Germany did not go all the way and get into the final or even qualify for the World Cup next year, but they can definitely be proud of the show that they have put on. And the people on your screen right now are a massive part of it. Not just the players, not just the coaches, not just the goalkeepers, but the volunteers as well that you see in the orange shirts on the screen right now, giving up their time for free to be able to make sure that this competition runs as smoothly as it has. Lots of smiles, as I mentioned then, but the biggest ones of all are on those Russians' faces right now, and maybe even their coach, Alexander Aristov, may have a smile on his face, although it still seemed he was giving his players a telling off about something. Maybe that's just his old school style, but it's been enough to claim Russia their first ever European Championship title. So all the teams that missed out in a spot in tonight's showcase event stand to the left-hand side as I look from my commentary position, and remaining in the centre are the squads and coaching staff of Spain on the left and Russia on the right. And I don't think the Russians have still absorbed yet the feeling of being European champions. You can see the trophies on the wall as well, on the purple stools just in front of the net. Of course, to come, we've not only got the runners-up medals, we've got the gold medal as well. We've also got player of the tournament, we have got the Fair Play Award, and we've also got the Golden Boot, which will go to Hassan Satay. And of course, Hassan Satay will be claiming the blind football ball that has been used over the course of the last 10 days. And I'll tell you something, we saw a collision in the second half where the ball flew into the face of Alexei Loktionov and it knocked him out, and he is a man mountain at the back, a good old school defender is the Russian captain. And I'll tell you something, after experiencing playing with those balls over the course of the last 10 days, it really does hurt if it hits you in an area that you perhaps weren't expecting it to fly into. So the medals on offer are those ones there. They're shiny, every single one of them, but of course Spain would have loved to have had their hands on those at the top of the screen, the gold ones. Instead, they will get the silver. So we are just awaiting the formalities to begin here. All 10 teams that have taken part in these championships have all shaken hands with each other and are stood awaiting the speeches to begin, the awards to be handed out, and of course the curtain to be closed on this epic 10th ever IBSA Blind Football European Championships. So a big tournament requires top officiating, and the four at the front there, the team from left to right on your screen of Michael Peak, Francois Corquet, Attila Ballant and Julia Cabau as well. Of course, I mentioned Julia Cabau, the first ever female official to be on a pitch in a blind football championships anywhere around the world on an international stage.
Alle Mannschaften hier im Stadion am Anhalter Bahnhof, das ist euer Applaus.
So now it's time for the formalities to begin.
And now, very welcome, Mr. Toussaint, the official of the IBSA.
Hello everybody. I want to thank all of you, the referee, the players, coaches, the volunteers, all of the people who come here to see the game. First of all, our sport is football. You have seen a lot of game, a lot of score, a lot of things. I think you will go back in Rome with the idea that blind people have ability to do a lot of things in their life. You know, International Federation, IBSA, promote a lot of sport. Football is one of them. And the vision we have is that our sport have to be a player in normal society in this city like here. And what's happened in Berlin, it's a success for us. And I want to thank again the organization because it's very good, very nice, and a lot of things happen. Most of people in the world see the game, and thank for all of this. I want to thank the president, chairman of the subcommittee, Ulrich is there, is now coaches of the team of German, but is the captain of the subcommittee, and for him, I want to thank him very much. We have the medal now. Okay. I have to give my clothes. What else? You know, we have changed some rules in our game, the girls, and we have a lot of spectacle, a lot of score, a lot of nice situation of the game. At the same time, we have some injury. We will continue to work to do that. Our sport will be the best spectacle, and I think I want to for everybody to say that my what I can say respect for all of the players. Thank you for all.
Thank you, Mr. Toussaint. And now we would very welcome Klaas Brose, head of the local organization committee.
Athletes, Athleten, this was an incredible European Championship, incredible performance. Athleten, das war eine ganz großartige Leistung. So thanks for your performance, a big cheering. Referees, thanks for fair play and clean games. It looked very good. The games have been very fair. And so thanks a lot for this. We had a great media team there. Twitter, Facebook, social media. We have a broadcasting company which brought us in the whole world. Wir hatten ein tolles Social Media Team und auch eine tolle Broadcasting-Firma, die uns in die ganze Welt gebracht hat. So thanks again for this performance. The medical team was busy, I think, but they did a very quite good job. So vielen Dank für unsere Ärzte, die uns jeden Tag geholfen haben hier auf der Europameisterschaft. Dankeschön. We had audio descriptive Spielbeschreiber, die da oben saßen. Very good job, thanks a lot. Dankeschön. And we had volunteers, lots of volunteers, and you did a great job. Wir haben tolle Volunteers gehabt, die Tage, die uns super unterstützt haben. Ganz vielen Dank dafür, ihr wart großartig. And at least, zum Schluss möchte ich auch Ihnen danken, die Zuschauerinnen und Zuschauer in Berlin. I want to thank the audience. You have been incredible, you made us proud. Das waren ganz tolle Tage. Ganz vielen Dank. Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
So
Klaas Brose,
there.
head of the local
One of the
organization.
two IBSA officials you've heard from. The man before him was Toussaint Actway. And of course, concurring the views that I've already outlined, how the crowd here have been absolutely exceptional throughout the duration of these tournament. Of course, we've had our officials as well, the players. Respect to all of them. Words from Toussaint Aktway, and you have to echo those sentiments.
Den Torschützen, den besten Torschützen des Turniers. Congratulations, top scorer this championship.
So now it's time. The top scorer,
Turkey.
Hasan Satay of Turkey, will be led to take his trophy, and the man alongside him has almost been just as entertaining. Of course, his guide, Mr. Yildirim, who used his wedding ring all the way through these championships to tap either side of the post to make sure that players like Hasan Satay knew exactly where the goal was. Satay, with his 11 goals, lit up this tournament. An amazing feat, especially for a player that didn't even manage to make the semi-finals. Of course, Hasan Satay, one of the main orchestrators in getting Turkey to next year's World Cup in Madrid. He shakes the ball with glee as he walks away as Golden Boot winner of the 2017 IBSA Blind Football European Championships with an amazing tally of 11 goals, and he takes the hug of Jonathan Tonsing there on the front of the German crew. So the Fair Play Award has been won by Spain, and I think they're just deciding who's going to go and take that. It certainly would be ironic if their coach Miguel Becerra went to claim it after his 2 yellow cards in the semi-finals.
Of Belgium.
In fact, it's been read out as Belgium. So Belgium are the Fair Play Awards winners. I'm going to take the plaudits for that will be Adrien Bonnard, the goalkeeper. Usually wears number 12, very distinctive with the hairband and the blonde ponytail. And he goes across to collect the green man of Berlin. That was a prominent symbol of the unification of East Berlin and West Berlin.
Congratulations, player of the tournament.
So Belgium winning the Fair Play Award. Player of the tournament, Andrei Tikhonov, the man who scored the winning penalty to clinch Russia's hands onto the European crown. And what a fitting end to the tournament it was for him. A panel of our commentator, Pete Selby, can't miss him with the green trainers. And Maurizio on the left as well, who has not only been our translator on the English live stream, he has also been a part of the German audio description team as well over the course of the last week and a half. And Andrei Tikhonov stands in between them with his goalkeeper Anton Yakovlev there as well for assistance. And he will be the best player of these championships, and the Russian team are chanting his name on the halfway line, and rightly so as well.
2017 in Berlin. Wir gratulieren zu Platz 3. Place third. Congratulations, England.
So England pick up the bronze medals. We had that earlier, and now Dylan Malpas, Dan English and Robin Williams will go up to collect the bronze trophy. And in fact, all the England team now have decided to join them as well. So England, of course, were hoping to get to the final. They thought they'd got to the final. An agonising last 12 seconds for their joint captain, Dan English, after he put past his own keeper, Dan James. But it smiles this time around as England claim third place, 1 place higher than they managed on their home soil in 2015 in Hereford. After they disposed of France today by 2 goals to 0. Dylan Malpas there receiving a bit of unfortuitous treatment from a teammate. At least he didn't have his pants down in goal against France today. Dan English absolutely loving that one, and it's great to see the England players all together. Spirits are still high despite the disappointment of the semi-finals. They have qualified for next year's World Cup, and they come away with a trophy to show for it as well. A big well done to John Pugh and the England team.
Ceremony for the referees.
So the officials are now receiving their medals as well. Of course, such a big championship requires the best of European officiating. Part of that, the team today: Francois Coquet, Atia Balin, Michael Peake, Julia Calbao, Patrick Saponsagun, and Louis Perez as well, to name but a few of an excellent team of IBSA blind football officials, working together as a team uniquely in terms of your regular 11-a-side football. Of course, 2 officials on the pitch, 2 in between the dugouts, and 3 in the officials' tent as well, to make sure things are all ticking smoothly on the sideline. And one thing I have to say about our officials as well, whenever they haven't been officiating, they have been here to watch the football on offer, to support their officials as well. And they've actually been sat most of the time underneath our commentary position, enjoying myself and Pete Selby's dulcet tones as they watch on. And I've enjoyed this tournament just as much as everybody else here in Berlin. And a well-deserved round of applause from the crowd here as well.
Gratulieren dem Zweitplatzierten der Europameisterschaft.
So now it's time for the runners-up medals, and they may have finished second in this tournament, but these medals and this place will hurt more than any other. Spain, of course, were already qualifying for next year's World Cup in Madrid, as they were hosting the event, and they wanted to come here and win yet another IBSA Blind Football European Championship title, but it wasn't to be today in the end. Thwarted on penalties by Russia, who win their first ever championships, and the captain there, El Hadaoui, has just received his silver medal. Sergio Alomar about to receive his as well, and he's certainly a name to listen out for in the future, Sergio Alomar, because he scored a wonder goal in their first match in the 8-0 demolishing of Georgia. However, he didn't quite manage to be able to reach those heights ever since in these championships, but I'm sure there'll be more from him to come. Moses Gonzalez receives his medal now. He scored in the penalty shootout tonight. One of 3 players to do so for Spain, who were outdone in the end by the 4 Russian goal scorers. Miguel Becerra certainly not looking impressed, had to watch on today from the stands, did the Spanish coach, after being sent off for 2 yellow cards in the semi-final success against England. Funnily enough, when he got sent off, Spain were 2-0 down at that point with 5 minutes to go, and it seemed to be Becerra somewhat throwing his toys out of the pram. Fortunately for Spain, it may have felt like they threw the gold medal away on the pitch here in Berlin tonight, but they can no doubt hold their heads up high as captain Youssef El Hadaoui, joined by Adolfo Acosta as well, who has removed his white sweatband, lift up the silver trophy. A bittersweet moment for Spain, but they will be back and hungry for more action in June next year, when they host the 7th ever edition of the IBSA Blind Football World Championships, and they'll definitely be out there to win that one. So 9 teams that took part in this 10-day-long championship here in Berlin, in the IBSA Blind Football European Championships, have all received their plaudits now, and there is one team remaining, and that is the champions of Russia in their white shirts, white shorts and white socks.
Und jetzt, liebes Berliner Publikum, wir küren
They will be awarded the gold medals and the gold trophy, player by player. They will first take their gold medals to a rapturous applause, and well-deserved as well. Anton Yakovlev, who was a hero in that penalty shootout success for Russia, as any goalkeeper is in a winning team. Alexei Loktinov, who's certainly been through many a battle, not just tonight, but in the championships as a whole as well, receives his gold medal. And the next man, Denis Agorov, the goal scorer, 10 minutes from time, the man who took this game to penalty kicks by scoring his 8th goal of the championships. Such a key man. You talk about young players and you say they are the stars of their future. Denis Agorov, certainly a star of the present. Also, Alexei Tikhonov getting his gold medal to boot as well, with his player of the tournament title. Also, Denis Agorov's brother, Nikita Egorov, didn't play too much of a part in these championships, but claims a gold medal to put on the mantelpiece nonetheless. And a smile on the coach of Russia, Alexander Arastov there. Just making sure his sides didn't split too much as he widened his mouth there, accepting that gold medal. Big smiles from the Russian guide, Vitaly Budikin. And the million-dollar question is exactly what did he say to Andrei Tikhonov before he stepped up and took that final penalty.
The medals for the coach team. Congratulations, Russia. And now the trophy is presented by Lydia
So Russia will now accept the European Championship trophy and lift it aloft into the Berlin sky. Russia are winners of the 10th ever IBSA Blind Football European Championships. An amazing 10 days of blind football here in the German capital. And Russia, who received heartbreak in Hereford 2 years ago, put it right this time around and get their hands on that trophy, and will write their name in blind football European Championship folklore.
Und hier gibt es nochmal einen kräftigen Applaus für den Europameister im Fußball 2017, die großen Mannschaft.
These four lonely walls have changed the way I feel, the way I feel. Where else can I go? Where else can I go? Chasing you, chasing you. Memories turn to dust. Please don't bury us. I got you. I got you. Running If I lose myself, I lose it all. If I lose myself, I lose it all. If I lose myself, I lose it all. If I lose myself, I lose it all.
So, congratulations for the fantastic team and for the fantastic time here in Berlin. Und jetzt an dieser Stelle schauen wir voraus. Es war eine
So 27 games, 10 days of action, and it all came down to penalties between Spain and Russia. And it is Russia who are the 2017 Blind Football European Championships. Thank you very much for being along with us on this fantastic journey over the course of the last 10 days. And until Madrid in 2018 and the Blind Football World Cup, a very good evening. Goodbye.